Well, that was one of those nights, wasn't it? And I was so hopeful and so positive. And do you know what? It occurs to me that for all of the great performances, for all of the great nights and great games that we've had in the last few years, every now and again, when we absolutely need to cross the line and win something, it's just not there. It's just not there. The mentality is just not there. I can take losing to a team as good as Paris Saint-Germain. I obviously can take losing to a team as good as Paris Saint-Germain. I think Luis Enrique, I picked Paris Saint-Germain almost at the start of the tournament to win this. I think Luis Enrique is an outstanding visionary manager who took a stand against Ousmane Dembele and pulled him back in line. And what a difference maker he is on his day now. Outstanding. I can tolerate losing, but we got to go down fighting, haven't we? Everything about this, from the magic moments of Madrid to the damp squib, just did not get going. Yeah, all right, we conceded a goal early. You could argue that without Thomas Partey there, Declan Rice seemed unsure where to be. Marino didn't cover back. But it was not like Paris Saint-Germain were at top gear either. It wasn't like they were coming at us. They had a couple of chances later on. It almost felt like they didn't care. They knew that they would pretty much get the job done in Paris. Now, it isn't over. It isn't over. But I can't get away from the feeling that there's something not quite right when we need it most. When we need it most, we're going to have to talk about Martin Odegaard. We're going to have to talk about it because that's our captain missing in action. Drossard. I hate the fact that I used to love him so much, and I don't want to go too much into it, but I do want to say evening, Earth Vader. All right, Anthony, how are you? And Miss Melina, perhaps you'll join me and say some nice things. Say some things that calm me down. I'm not even angry. I'm not even angry. I'm just trying to work this out. Yeah, all right. So Paris Saint-Germain have a better manager than we do, but pound for pound, I mean, we're not talking about a massive gulf in class between these two clubs. But where you need that confidence, where you need to believe in yourselves, Saka was a shadow tonight. He was a shadow of his normal self. This Primark razor look. Not tonight, Weers. I'm not having it. When that goal went in early in the second half as well, I knew it was offside. It's the worst thing about football these days, isn't it? You're just waiting for the VAR to ruin your evening. But it wasn't like I didn't think we could come back into it. I thought for the first 30 minutes we were badly in trouble. But Paris Saint-Germain didn't capitalise on it. I thought perhaps they'll come to regret this. We get an equaliser early in the second half. We could go on, maybe even win it 3-1. Who knows? We've had some great performances. All right, we've got Mr. Tom. Well done yesterday, and well done to Leeds generally. And Jose's here. Great to see you, mate. Greetings, everyone, indeed. Jordan's here. Jordan's saying something about Premier League champions. Not tonight, mate. Wind your neck in. So what went wrong? What was it that went wrong? What keeps going wrong? What keeps going wrong? Because this is not an aberration. This is not a one-off. This is not us just not turning up. This is like Bayern Munich last year. I went to the Allianz, which doesn't look like we're going to be doing this year, but we went to the Allianz and it was poised, delicately poised, but we just didn't get going. There was no fight. I don't think that Trossard worked. Not at all, mate. I'm really pleased for you. I don't know if I feel like, and also I thank you because that just reminded me as well, something I haven't had a chance to say yet. To Liverpool fans, and Jordan, you're one of them, so you can have this tonight. Well done. It was great to see Liverpool fans get a chance to celebrate a title at home. And I mean, like, there was never any doubt, was there? If you've got to beat Tottenham or get a draw against Tottenham to win the league, No wonder they were setting off the flares. It is, if you can't win the league, for me, I'm sure it's different for lots of people, but if I can't see Arsenal win the league, then I was glad to see Liverpool win it. They've always been a class act. They've always been a great team. Next season, I think, will be our season, but there's plenty of time to talk about that. But if we're going to have a season, if we're going to win a title, if we're going to win meaningful silverware, we need to fight. And so I'm going to circle back to my main point here, everyone, which is that as a captain, Martin Odegaard has brought us a long way. He's evolved us, helped us evolve into a ball-playing team. But let's be real. He was completely useless tonight. He has been since he came back from injury. I mean, there was a little spell when he first came back from injury. I would say he came back from injury and then he had a baby. And I thought it was really weird. I thought it was really weird at the start of the match where they got the lip reader and they slowed down Declan Rice. And first of all, in those moments, you're kind of expecting it to be Martin Odegaard, aren't you? In those kind of moments, are you not expecting it to be the rousing speech? Is that not supposed to come from your captain? I mean, he's been coasting. He's been getting through it. But what they slowed it down is if we don't have the ball, we die. And I thought that's a weird way to approach this game. It's a weird way to approach football anyway. It's probably an idea that's had its day, hasn't it? The Cruyffian Barcelona dynasty of managers like Guardiola and Arteta that seem determined to keep the possession of the ball so much that they stop the other team scoring. When actually, you can't have a gegenpress. You can't win the ball back if they never have it. Hang on a minute, we've got a problem. Rosie says she can't comment, Dan. Why not? Who's blocked Rosie? Has anyone? How do we get Rosie back? Fandabu Rosie is a fundamentally important part of this live stream. Don't tell me I have to start again. Somebody who knows what they're doing help Rosie out. I definitely haven't blocked you. No. Razor, well done, Leeds. They kicked Bristol City's ass yesterday. I'm still mad about that. Oi, Leeds fans, you want some? That's it. I'm gone. It's been one of those nights, isn't it? So I don't know what we're going to do about Rosie. I don't know why she wouldn't be able to comment, but that doesn't make any sense at all. Do you know what? Well, no, it doesn't make any sense, but I'm going to just quickly make sure it's not. I'll try that. We'll try that. Look at him. He's gone in two. He's gone in. He's on the Facebook and I love it. Love your work. Saskia Guna. Hola. I guess I can. I know, Moss, I know you're always ready to defend Martin Odegaard. But stinky tonight. It wasn't the only one. I didn't think we were going to miss Thomas Partey as much as we did. I thought Saka was average. I didn't think Saka lit the place up. Pass completion wasn't great. Key passes, just a little bit. The whole thing, wasn't it? Man, half-time now, and we need a big one next week. So who thinks we're still in it? Who thinks we could still do this? Because I'm not writing us off. I could see us getting an early goal at Paris Saint-Germain, put the fear up them. We saw what happened when Aston Villa. I think there might be a little bit of complacency. Certainly the way they played towards the end of this game. In it to win it. Marino up top, even though Tross did a lot of the work. Declan has got a foot. He should be on all free kicks. Yep. We genuinely are still in it. I mean, problem is, no one's going to say we can still win it, 100%. No one's going to say we can't. The only thing on this is that for all that we can still win it, you have to turn up and fight for it. What is it about Mikel Arteta's Arsenal that flatters to deceive, that does so much good work? I mean, if you look back on the Champions League this season, we don't concede many. We've scored free scoring. I mean, we put 5 past Real Madrid, the current holders, 7 in one match past PSV, 10 on aggregate. Sporting Lisbon, 5. We haven't We haven't had a season like this since 2009. We've made the semi-final, but is it almost worse to make the semi-final? Let me know what you think. We need to score early in Paris and turn it around. Remontada in Paris. God, can you imagine? Luis Enrique on the wrong end of a remontada. It's not over till it's over. I still believe in this team. I believe in this team. I don't want to give anyone the impression I don't believe in this team. I believe David Raya is a fantastic goalkeeper. Miles Lewis-Skelly is going to be an absolute generational talent. They'll probably build a statue to him. Declan Rice, cheap at half the price. I think Martinelli had some threat, didn't come off. The end product wasn't there tonight, but I thought he looked lively. I mean, he's no Kvaratskhelia, is he? I mean, why we didn't at least make a bid for him? Although he wasn't. Listen, I don't think he was outstanding tonight. Ousmane Dembele is one of my favourite players from his time at Dortmund. I've been genuinely frustrated by him season after season, watching him play less well than he can. And now he's found his form in that central position. Wouldn't be the first time in recent memory that PSG lost a remontada. No, exactly. It is worth pointing out that when they did lose that, it was to Luis Enrique's Barcelona side in 2017. So you probably don't want to invoke that idea. He got it tactically right, but I don't think this is so much about tactics anymore. I think it's about the last words you say to your team before they go out. They've got to fight. They've got to have that Tony Adams spirit in them, that Patrick Vieira spirit. I thought when Bruno Fernandes was made captain of Man United, I thought that was a terrible mistake by Erik ten Hag. I thought that you can't have a captain who shrugs. You can't have a captain without that trench mentality, that, you know, someone you look to and think, yeah. But I think we've done it. Martin Odegaard is a prefect. He is an altar boy. He is hardworking, honest, skillful. He's allowed to have off games, and he's had an off second half to this season following an injury where he was in his prime. And I think he'll come again. But I think the baton has been passed. I think Declan Rice, despite our subpar performance, looked every inch the captain tonight, and Martin Odegaard didn't. Nothing really worked for him. He's always receiving the ball with his back to act. Tiring, really tiring, huh? The only chance Arsenal have is for Miss Molina to behave during Slags in the Dark. Slags in the Dark. Bruno gets his goal, assists, and moments. Yeah, he's had his bad times as well. But he's not captain, is my point. He's not the guy that drags you through the difficult times. Saski, first goal, Rice left Dembele. Yeah, it was deeply frustrating because there was almost a moment where you could see him thinking about it, and I wonder how much that's him. I mean, first of all, yeah, you've got to make your mind up quicker, but you can't leave. And also, you've got to say, Marino jogging back, he wasn't in the right position. I definitely think we're going to be stronger in the next game. And I think I would caution anyone who in the Paris Saint-Germain ranks who thinks it's over. Mr. Tom, that's asking too much from me. Arteta got his selection wrong. Boy Tendio. Did he? Who would you have played? I mean, I'm going to be probably... I want to keep my powder dry. I don't really want to say how I honestly feel at the moment because I think I'll regret it. But if I'm going to say how I honestly feel, with the caveat that I might change my view and I might watch this back, or I might think about it more tonight and think I was completely wrong. But for me, Trossard, he's just not the one. And I know that he was really troublesome for Paris Saint-Germain in the game in October, caused some problems between the lines, but it just wasn't there tonight. They defended deeper than I expected. They had their chances to hit us on the break, exactly as you would have predicted. But when you're saying Boy Tendio, when you say the selection was wrong, I mean, who would you have picked? Would you start at Ethan Nwaneri instead of Martin Odegaard? That would have been a brave move. What is Martin Odegaard's problem at the moment? And why is Mikel Arteta always the last to see? We had this early on in the Arteta regime, we had his inability to see that Willian wasn't working out. His stubborn insistence on Thomas Partey at right back. When, you know what, like, I get it. He knows more about football than me, but some things you can see when it's not working. Rice goes to double team and leaves a space behind him. But you can see there's a moment where Declan Rice is actually not sure what he should do. And I think that's got to be in part because of the changing formation. You're saying it all starts with the selection. I want to hear from you, Boy Tendio. Who would you have picked? I think you're going to actually say that in a moment here. If we win the next game, Razor will wear a dress and powder his nose before he goes live. No, I won't. Fucking won't. Brace equals cojones. We didn't have any. Yeah. We didn't have any fight. We just didn't have any fight. And I'm also, it's hard, isn't it? I'm watching it on television. I'm wondering, were the Emirates crowd too quiet after that goal went in? I say the selection was wrong because Miles Lewis-Skelly had to be in midfield to cover for Partey's absence. Marino had to stay up front and KT or Zinchenko needed to start left back. Yeah, all right. Okay. Yeah, do you know what? I agree. I didn't give a lot of thought to the starting 11 because it was so painfully obvious what he was going to do. He was going to drop Marino back into midfield. And he likes that kind of Marino, Declan Rice, statuesque midfield, strong, tall. But it was statuesque today. There wasn't enough movement. Like Declan Rice, again, tearing all over the place. But we weren't cohesive. We didn't move as a unit like we often do. Well, we mostly do. Rosie's watching but can't comment. She's supporting, though. Thank you, Rosie. I don't know what's going on. Why is Rosie blocked? Has anyone blocked Rosie? Fess up if you have. It'd be the last thing I would do. Great to see you, Rosie. Or not see you, but you can always go on a Facebook and leave messages that way. Or log in as a completely different person. I know Luca Talks Ball's got 9 accounts. Maybe he'll let you have one of them. God, I bet there's people all over the interweb now giving it this manager. And that is this job, isn't it? Yeah, well, so we've got some mods. Miss Molina, have you blocked Rosie? What is going on? How is Rosie blocked? It doesn't make any sense. Hey, Dan. Oh, AJ. Hi, Dan. Get on my club, Martin. Unclass. Listen, whatever happens from here, it's really hard to see Martin Odegaard. It's a tough one because when you make someone captain, you can't really demote them. He ain't world class. Definitely not on tonight's performance. Not on the second half of this season. And it's been such a disappointing season, hasn't it? Whatever else happens. I know it's not over. I know, look, it's going to be somber. I would have been okay if we'd lost 2-0, but we put in a lot of effort. Just feels like what we were missing wasn't so much class. It was just confidence. It's, for all of the getting the tactics right and the team selection and all of the things, the really great managers make the biggest difference in making. I'll never forget the story of Alex Ferguson before the 99 Champions League final saying to his team, when you walk past that trophy, remember, you can't touch it if you come here without it, if you come back in here without it. And there is a polar opposite, isn't it? There's a team that fights to the last breath. And tonight, it just felt like we had all the time in the world. It always does like this. It always feels like we think there's an extra 20 minutes somewhere. So I am going in on Mikel Arteta because ultimately he's responsible for the way that they go out and fight, and they didn't tonight. Maybe there's a really good reason for that, and maybe we'll find out. But whatever it is, maybe the pre-match. Listen, one thing I am sick to the back teeth of anyway is those huddles. Do that in a dressing room. Come out, stare your opponent in the eye. Don't go into a little huddle and just fucking have at it. Give Saka captain and get him out. Buy a player we can play good all season, not just one can't stand him. I'm not in the same. I'm not in that I can't stand Martin Odegaard camp. But I tell you what it is. it's like this in football, isn't it? You have a player, you really love them, and sometimes you get overly attached to them, and you're the last person who can see when it's not working. But that is Arteta's problem at the moment. That Martin Odegaard wasn't just bad in this game; he was really nondescript. Not enough touches. Didn't no successful dribble attempts. Like nothing really to speak of. But it isn't just this game, is it? It's. I mean, when was his last great game? He played okay against Real Madrid, and that was an awesome night for us. Could say he played really well against Ipswich, actually. But so fucking what? Anyway, how are you? I'm brilliant. I'm really great. Every 17 years, I like us to get in my lifetime. I like us to get to a semi-final, and then just basically act like we've got another one lined up next. Do you know what? From 2009, that was hugely disappointing. Arguably more disappointing. Kieran Gibbs falls over. Man United already 1-0 up from the first leg at Old Trafford, scored 2, and it's all done in the first 15 minutes. And I really thought, well, at least it won't be as disappointing as that. We will have something out of this game. We will turn up but we're just devoid of ideas today, and that's difficult. I bet you 100 quid Lee Gunner is ranting about Martin. The stop clock being twice a day. Yeah, I'm sure he is. And I've seen all the little clips from him that he'd sell Martin Odegaard for a £5. Personally, I'd love to know what's happened to Martin Odegaard. Last game he played, last 2 times he played for Norway against very poor opposition, but he was outstanding. He definitely wasn't our only problem, but that's your captain. It all starts with him. So surely Declan Rice should be captain by now. Gabriel, Havertz, Partey, Calafiori, Jesus would all have used off the bench tonight. It's an excuse, but it's also a fact. Just too many. Good to see you, Gavo. Yeah, although, you know what? Calafiori, I'm not sure. Gabriel, definitely. But then, I didn't think it was Kivior's fault that we didn't play well tonight. And I think he's been a real surprise. I don't think anyone covered themselves in glory tonight. I really don't. Maybe Miles Lewis-Skelly. I'm going to say maybe Miles Lewis-Skelly. But when Martin Odegaard is watching the same game as we are, and we're just not in or around it, and he doesn't throw somebody on, it doesn't change something around, it's difficult. I mean, 2 substitutions, Ben White in the 83rd minute for Urian Timber, and Ethan Wanyeri on the 90th minute. We needed a striker. Marino was the only one to force a VAR decision. Did anyone think that was in? I knew it was. I bloody knew it. Agreed, Razor. You got to blame the manager. And why was he late making subs tonight? So I've kind of read your mind there. Odegaard is a fantastic squad player, but no captain and nailed on starter. I agree with that. Right now, I 100% agree with that. And I think that's the difference between a squad with depth and a squad without, because a squad with depth could have rested Martin Odegaard. Listen, without further ado, to lift the mood and the spirits, and to make this an Adam's Arms special Tuesday, please would you be upstanding and join me in welcoming in Miss Melina.
Hi everyone. Thanks for having me on the show.
No, always a pleasure. Can you cheer me up? Is there anything you can say to cheer me up?
It's a tough one today. I don't know. Even with me having nothing, I guess the positives I can think of in this game is the fact that we are only a goal deficit, and the fact that Partey is available for the next leg, which was a huge loss in midfield today. But if you're looking at the historical stats, this was our first home defeat since Bayern 5-1 at home. Arsenal have never beat a French team in the Champions League in the semifinals. And Arsenal have never won an away Champions League leg after going a goal down in the home leg.
Mel, would you pack it in?
But with all that being said, the Gooner in me still thinks that just like the women's team turned it around just this weekend.
Yeah, that was That was good.
Just this weekend that ended, they turned it around in Lyon, and I do think in
Yeah,
Paris we can turn it around. So
there's
uh,
hope.
we're gonna
I'm gonna.
need early goal. We're gonna need Jesus, Allah, everything. We're gonna need the Buddha. We're gonna need everything possible.
Buddha, the Buddha in
Um,
gold.
um,
Goodness. I'm going to rattle through some of these comments so I don't get caught out.
yes,
Saskia, I really don't think your stats right. Can you clarify that? Because I don't think I've reeled off that many stats. Certainly, Martin Odegaard tonight had 24 accurate passes, 1 key pass, won 2 ground duels out of 8, lost possession 14 times, made
that's
1
terrible.
tackle. Just average, below average shit. BX, break it down. I need dinner sorted. What to eat? Croissant.
Chow mein sounds good, and if you get a croissant, throw it in the garbage.
While Russ is here, one thing is clear to me: Odegaard needs to either play as a centre mid or replaced altogether. I think, you know what? I'm going to say this. I think with Martin Odegaard, he knows he's playing like shit. You know, like, have you ever had that at work where you know you're having a stinker and some manager kind of goes, "No, you're doing really well," and you go like, "Who are we kidding?" But it's even worse. You need someone to turn around and go, "Mate, you're sitting on the bench for this one."
If it was any other player, I think they would have been hooked a long time ago.
Had to
And
be.
it
He's our
baffles me.
captain.
It baffles me how he's lasting so long. And you can be an Odegaard fan still, but be objective in your analysis of a player because he's your favorite player. And I'm saying this as a general analysis. Just because a certain player is your favorite player doesn't mean they're like I guess free from critique. And
Yeah.
it's not critique as an abuse. It's constructive criticism based on the analysis of the game. And in the
Yeah.
analysis of the game, week in and week out, we've seen he's gone missing.
I think if I was one of Martin Odegaard's relatives, and maybe not in a public forum, but I'd definitely be saying to him, "Are you all right? Is everything all right?" Because you can't. Martin Odegaard knows he's not playing well. He's not an idiot.
I think he's still playing with an injury. In my opinion, I still think he's either still playing with an injury or something is going on in the background that we're not made aware of.
Yeah, one of those two is as likely as anything else. The injury I don't see. I think it's the way he always. I think it's pure lack of confidence. I think when you're in that frame of mind where everything you do comes off, you try that first quick pass. There was a telling moment for me before Saka dribbled through on the left-hand side. He was running across, like he does with his left foot. And you think, just let one go. And it just doesn't. And Trossard just doesn't. And we just don't shoot when we get that chance.
How many times did Martinelli have the ball today and chance after chance after chance, Dan? We're not finishing our chances. Yes, some of those chances you can say, I think 2 of those chances were offside. Fine, so be it. But there was chances from both Marino. And I think even today you could say we missed Marino up front. I would have put on Tierney in the early on, made a sub for Tierney, and then shift Miles Lewis-Skelly to midfield. Or the easier option would be put Zinchenko in midfield and move Marino up front.
I think that's one thing I didn't consider. I didn't really go into this match thinking we needed to do. I underestimated the importance of losing Thomas Partey, not just because of his quality and the way that he shields us and interrupts the opposition flow, but mostly because it left Declan Rice seemingly unsure of his exact position. Definitely shouldn't have been double teaming Havertz. Should have been on Dembele, because if he wasn't supposed to be, then Marino shouldn't have been ambling back. Somewhat, you can't leave Ousmane Dembele, 34
unmarked.
goal, completely unmarked on the edge of the area in the 4th minute.
Yeah.
I wonder if Gabriel would have been shouting at someone. I don't know. I'm not going in on Declan Rice. If it wasn't for him, we wouldn't be here. AJ saying that Ty from Arsenal Fan TV, the women won the second leg and got into the final so can the men. Well, it can. Like, I'm not ruling it out.
It's not impossible, but it's really tough where we are at this stage.
We got to be 5-1, 6-1. I really don't, and that's with only a goal deficit.
Can I also just add the consensus on this stream since you started half an hour ago is the fact that why didn't Ethan Nwaneri come on sooner in the game? 90 minutes to bring on Ethan Nwaneri is
What
a
was
red
that?
card.
Like, what? Sorry to talk
It's
over
a
you.
red card offense. What's the
What?
point of that?
What is the point of that? What is the point? What are you saying to Ethan Wanyeri? There's like, you've got a minute to do something.
So you've got a minute. Go do something, lad. Like, what the fuck?
Do something that the rest of the team hasn't been able to do in 90 minutes. But
Yeah.
Odegaard is playing as if he's carrying a knock. I can't explain why he's struggling so much. He needs to have some special moments. I think we could do a poll on this, because my feeling is that he's physically fit, but life is hard when you just lose that confidence in yourself. You know, when you like, if you look at some sports, you know, we call it the yips in darts. You just hold on to the dart for a moment too long. In golf, you just hold on to, you know, I think that what we're watching is Odegaard putting more and more pressure on himself. He knows he's supposed to be the man in this team, and yet he's kind of, apart from that game against Ipswich where I thought he was really good. Social joins is here. What's up, Social? Hey, Rosie! Hey, Hobag!
Hi, Rosie. It works now. Thank God.
God, you're here. How is everyone? I think she had her ad blocker off there. Rosie! Look at that. Please make sure you've pressed the like. Now they will, now that you're telling them to. Whoa, what Miss Melina appears on cam. Well, yeah. Hey, here's Miss Melina. We're only a goal down. We're honestly lucky as shit. That's mate. I
usually put my camera on when I'm on here most of the time.
Yeah.
I'm human for the most part.
Odegaard needs to be a squad player. He doesn't have ego to go up the levels. 18-year-olds are more decisive than the guy. Whoa, there's something in that though. I think honestly, there are all kinds of things that can change your confidence. Right now, though, I think he can feel that he's not going to be staying as captain. I think he can feel that there is he went back to Madrid, what should have been a glorious night for him, and I feel like it was, but Declan Rice stole the show in the first game.
Yeah.
Bukayo Saka in the second game. What is Martin Odegaard's cure? I think is take him off and give him a chance to fight for his place back.
I think Lewis Skelly was brilliant today.
I thought, yeah, he was the.
Oh, I would say that pass was.
It does everything about him. It's Captain Chaos. It's the way he takes people on, the confidence he has. I cannot praise him enough for. I know that when you're young, you're more fearless, but this is a different level. He is a different level of footballer.
Yeah.
Technique, ability, the brain for the game. You know, he's smart as hell, and yeah, I love him. Can't say enough good things about him. It's all against us. I thought the referee was shit as well. If we're starting off on that
for
one.
both teams.
Yeah, I think he was shit for both teams. But he starts off with that stupid yellow card, Trossard, and you just think, what is going to happen for the rest of the match? AJ saying, I think we won't win. I think like that's the statistically most probable outcome now. Melina's looking fab. Yes. I just can't believe that. I can't believe what PSG's ultras made the stadium sound like. So disappointing.
Even the tifo was underwhelming, and I know it's funded by the supporters club, but it was quite
that was a massive misstep by the club and the Ashburn. You know, there were so many problems with that. That's a lack of cohesion in your spirit and togetherness. That atmosphere should have been a cauldron. It wasn't. I don't know. Listen, it was the same when we played Man United in 2009. Obviously, I'm probably the only one old enough to remember, but it was like starts off in daytime, and the atmosphere is never the same, right? It's because it's still light. Want a dark? Listen, Paris will be different. We'll go and we'll win 2-0. It'll be fine. It sounded like we were in Paris. Got to do something, haven't we? I can't bear it. You know, like I remember for the last 2 years, not so much in the league this season, but I've gotten so tired of people saying it's the hope that kills you, because it isn't. It's a hope that keeps you alive. It could be worse. We could be Villa fans right now, right? You could be, you know, we could be sitting here. We could be.
Sorry, I'd rather have Arteta than Emery we already went through that whole Emery.
That conversation is done, and I'm not having it again. And if anyone wants to go back to Baku right? Because
Be my guest.
Arteta's been knocked out. Looks like we might be getting knocked out by one of, I think, the best managers in the modern game,
Lewis
right?
Enrique.
With one of the most heavily backed clubs in the world, oil money behind it, and such a tradition and a great team, etc., etc. A team, after all, we knocked out of the semi-finals of '94 Cup Winners' Cup. This is it's a totally different thing. Going to Baku and getting absolutely torn up 4-1 by Spurs, by Chelsea. Sorry,
Yeah,
that's Unai Emery. We can all stop talking about Unai Emery, and he's got the rest of the season off now as well, hasn't he?
yeah, but hopefully they can focus on getting top 5, and let's just hope Newcastle don't get it somehow.
Oh, I think they will. I really do. If Rice were in the 6 and we had another creative mid in the 7, left centre mid, and I have no doubts that Odegaard would be performing better. Also, if we had a real striker, that's a fair point. But there's only so much you can make. You can't, if you're going to say that Martin Odegaard would be playing better if he had better players around him, then where's his captain's role of like lifting the players around him? If we need to put better players around him, then he shouldn't really be captain. I think the really great players make players around them better, and I don't think he's there yet. But he's still young. I'm not ruling it out. So chow mein, Miss Melina, Chinese, that's my favorite. I could definitely do the chow mein right
Chow
now.
mein, yeah, it's good. Nice
Rosie.
like these.
I'm not eating, so
Kung Pao prawns.
I've never had Kung Pao. Odegaard has to be playing with an injury, otherwise his current form is inexcusable. That's fair. I don't know. I mean, I'm sure he's not trying to play badly. I don't think he needs to find an excuse, but I think his confidence is so badly shot. And then to take him off on the 90th minute doesn't make it easier either.
Oh my God, baffling substitutions.
Yeah,
I get it, the Timber one for White, because apparently Timber had a knock and he went down a couple of times before he got subbed
He nearly came off. I thought he nearly came off in the 70-something minute, and then he talked to the physio and he decided to stay on. I don't think that was necessary at all, but I genuinely forgot Odegaard was on the pitch at moments of that game. I tell you what, we were so far apart as well. We were not. There was no cohesion in our setup of any kind.
It's strange because we made PSG look like the home team today.
Yeah.
At least in that first half, I would say.
What was really frustrating about it is that the fact. I mean, the first half was awful. It was so. I mean, this is the overarching point I guess I would make, that as an Arsenal fan, I had to wait till 2006 to see the first semi-final in the Champions League, right?
Yeah, 18 years.
I had to wait to 2006, and then we got to the final. It was an outstanding run to the final. I really thought we were going to beat Barcelona, and then we get that ridiculous red card.
Shafted.
But then I know that Arteta's star wasn't in the ascendant anymore, and we weren't quite performing, and we'd moved to a new stadium, and Vieira had gone, and things had started to go a little bit wobbly. But by 2009, I did a video. I mean, when you look at the lineup in 2009, Adebayor up front, Van Persie up front, Sami Nasri, it was like a traitor's corner, right? So you've got, and you could feel that it was ebbing away. But I remember thinking, oh, we'll come to another semi-final. We're getting the hang of it. We're somehow performing well enough to get to the semis, and our time will come. And then it's 16 years for this. 16 years of waiting, 16 years where we qualified and then we stopped qualifying, get down to the Europa League and think, well, at least we're in a tournament, we can win now. And we end up with that horror show in Baku. And you start thinking, we're just cursed in Europe. Maybe we have to go down to the Conference League or some silly ass thing like that. And then Arteta has brought us back. Yeah. Last season, quarterfinals felt good enough. Then we went to the Allianz and we just walked about.
Oh, what a terrible game. I traveled all the way for that game. We didn't even turn up there.
It felt like that tonight, though.
I felt like in the second half today, though, we at least dropped. I felt like the second half of today's game was much better than the 90 minutes in Munich at the Allianz Arena.
I still feel like we play as if there's all the time in the world, that we play without urgency. We play without fire. We play
even in the
without
final third, the taking our chances and finishing them. That's always been something we've struggled with.
I mean, like when Martinelli's clean on goal, you don't really ever expect him to score. But
yeah,
I thought Donnarumma
with his head down all the time.
Yeah, he pulled off a great save. I think I think Martinelli did what you'd hope for him to do with it. Arsenal direct
tip saves by Donnarumma.
Yeah, and he's a great. I mean, obviously, it's his heroics that have brought him this far. Arsenal direct having a good sale, looking at two hats, some joggers, and that signed Rice print. Hats, some joggers, and that signed Rice print. I prefer to eat prawns and kung pao them. Konnichiwa. Is there any argument that Odegaard needs a centre forward to connect with and makes runs? Maybe, but I'm going to stick by my original assessment. If we have to go and sign great players to make Odegaard great, I think that's the wrong way round. We had a chance tonight against Paris Saint-Germain side. We could have beat them. And Odegaard was worse than anonymous. He was worse than anonymous because he had no positive impact on the game. You know, that's what it comes down to. Wasn't inside the box enough. Did he have a shot? Let me just see. Did he have a single shot?
Who, nope. Odegaard?
Not on or off, nothing. No accurate crosses, no accurate long balls. Not that you'd expect that from him. 24 accurate passes in this game. Galvo, I would say, obviously we would do better with a centre forward that could make some runs. But
yeah, big time.
Yeah, we had options. Could have put Martinelli in that situation, and I don't know. I was disappointed. Do you know what? I'm kind of done with Trossard as well. I'm done with him.
His head's not really there either, Trossard.
They played like Odegaard, Trossard played. At least Martinelli played like he really wanted to be playing well, but just couldn't find the right ball. With Trossard and Odegaard, they played like there's another game tomorrow. We'll win that one instead. All right, so Social Joins is making a really good point here. He's saying, look, stop with the injury crap. Saka's playing with one leg. Odegaard can't go up level, stagnation, just like Zinni. Sometimes the team goes past you. I'm surprised that I always feel surprised at how much people go in on Zinni. I think it would have been great to see him come on tonight. I would have done something. I would have put an extra man in midfield or something, because when they were sitting, but I don't know, just lacked energy, it lacked enthusiasm, it lacked everything that we needed tonight to be. For a team that's waited 16 years to get to a semi-final, has never won this tournament, will never have a better opportunity to get to a final.
Yeah.
I would have started Kieran Tierney at left back, Mars Lewis Kelly in Marino's position. Yeah, I think that. I didn't think of it before the match, but that definitely, for me, benefit of hindsight, 100%.
I was asking for that at halftime.
Yeah. At halftime,
I don't know why he left that. Like, what went through Arteta's head to leave that Waneri substitution for 90 minutes? It's like, did he overthink the game? I guess not thinking at all. Like, what the hell? I just don't understand the reasoning.
They are the big questions. Why weren't the team more up for it at the start? Why were we lethargic? Why did we not have the passion that we needed? Where was the sense of occasion? And what the actual fuck did he do? Not making a substitution until basically he has one forced. I mean, listen, I get that our bench isn't exactly, Champions League level, right? Yeah. You're not throwing Raheem Sterling on. I totally get that. There are options, though. A couple of them have been talked about. Kieran Tierney offers you width in a way that Martinelli doesn't. I would have probably kept Martinelli on. I would have taken Trossard off. I would have taken Odegaard off, and I would have made a statement. I said, look, yeah, you're the captain. All of that, Trossard, I hear so many people saying he's our best finisher. Could all of that be true? But tonight you're playing like shit. I'm hooking you. Martinelli did have a bozo moment, but he's not being fed the ball correctly or consistently. Too much traffic running through Saka. And I thought Saka wasn't using his turn of pace. Saka looked...
I think he was easily man-marked, though, from PSG. Like, there was constantly 2 or 3 players on Saka.
That's that's always going to be the case, though, isn't it? If you're at the level,
of course.
at his level, I absolutely agree with you. When you look at where his position was, though, it's 2 inside.
Yes.
It's all over the place as well. He's having to run in places where other people aren't making runs. We is Earth Vader, the Bristol Bombers talking about Chinese takeaway. That's what we've been. Can you imagine how different tonight could have been? 2-0 victory. We could all be buzzing. Chance to get to the Champions League final. Instead, we're talking about Rosie's takeaway. I believe we win the match if we have that starting lineup. Well, hopefully we will have that starting lineup for the next one. What car parks have you frequented today, Russ? I really believe it. My favourite, that's the one thing you get all the time. We can win the second leg, but Christ, lads, it looks ominous as hell. It doesn't. Can we have a quick poll? Does it, Miss Molina, I'll start with you.
I'm saying yes. I'm saying yes. I'm saying we're going to do the unthinkable. So, yes. Call me deluded.
Why would you call it the unthinkable, and why would you refer to yourself as a delusional? I think you're answering the question without answering the question correctly.
The reason I say it's unthinkable is because of what I said when I first joined the stream. Is that based on previous statistics?
Don't do that. Stop doing that. This got nothing to do with it. Do you know what? One of my favorite things I discovered recently was that the. Forgive me if you've already seen this, but the Munich has hosted 4 previous Champions League finals.
Okay. Yes.
So Nottingham Forest in 1979, Marseille won it in 1993. I'm trying to find it now. I've forgotten the third one. Chelsea in 2012. Oh, and Dortmund in 1997. Okay.
Yes.
They are the 4 finals that have been played in Munich, Champions League finals.
All right.
What do they all have in common?
The team that didn't expect to win won it.
No, more than that. Each one of those games was won by a team that had never won it before. Nottingham Forest won their first one. No team has ever won a Champions League in Munich who's won it before.
What?
Yeah.
Why would you say that to me?
Because Paris Saint-Germain are going to win the Champions League, or we're going to win the Champions League. It will not be Barca and it will not be Inter.
So it's whoever wins our draw.
Yeah. And to be honest, I really I don't get to watch a lot of don't get to watch a lot of Spanish football.
He's already won the league.
I don't get to watch a lot of Spanish football, but I did watch the Copa del Rey, and what a great game! What a great game!
Oh my gosh! Oh, Jules Koundé scored the winner.
Oh, and we were linked with him like 4 days before, so let's have him.
Yeah, I saw that.
I don't think we're getting him. Arteta don't trust Wanyeri in such a key game. And yet he trusts Miles Lewis-Skelly, which I think is mind-breaking. Like, how do you know that Miles Lewis-Skelly is going to be this good? Marina couldn't keep up first 8 minutes. Lack of speed killed us. We couldn't get our spaces right. Yep. That all sounds absolutely spot on. PSG bopped us first 20 minutes. Most of the first half, to be fair. Anthony Herbert, like, this is
hard uphill battle for
captain stating the bloody obvious. It's a hard uphill battle for us in a second. Oh, is it? Thanks for that. Arteta is going to give him some more vanity minutes. Who? Ethan should have been subbing Odegaard since December. Fair. Very fair. Math, not mathing. Maths, mathing.
Like the video, people. It's free. You know what to do. Before Rosie comes out for you.
Poll. What was the poll again? It was like, do you think we'll go through? Who's saying we're going through? I don't think we're going through.
Who do you think is going through?
I think PSG will go through, and I think PSG will play Barca, and Luis Enrique will win, and it will be a hugely dramatic night for him. I mean, Luis Enrique, when you think of him as he's just so my kind of manager. I believe in him, you know. Hansi Flick, I think it's going to be a great. I think Inter have too much going on at the moment. Also, all of these teams, Paris Saint-Germain lost on Friday. Barcelona have not been.
Yeah, they lost their first game to Nice.
Yeah, the first game in the whole season.
Yeah.
They've kind of, you almost feels like they're fading at the worst possible time. But then tonight we didn't give them a match, so they just turned up. Lone Star Londoners here,
Hi,
afternoon / evening. We couldn't find that killer pass, too slow when it was backwards and sideways. Do you know what? It was backwards and sideways, wasn't it? It was backwards, sideways again and again. My cure is a new pair of sneakers trainers to get over this. There are not enough things I could buy to get over this. I don't want to get all like one foot in the gravy here. But at 51, you do start thinking, are we ever going to do this? You know, for all the joy that Arsenal have given me, for all of the big moments, you know, we're not in the realms of Real Madrid or Man United or, you know, the big clubs that deliver consistently like Liverpool. Why are you saying that? Liverpool have only done 2 leagues in 35 years or whatever it is. So fair enough. But that's that. Being an Arsenal fan is close, but not quite close enough. And then you start thinking, it's another 15 years before we get to another semi-final. Because I could see Arteta getting sacked or leaving, and I could see it going south again.
The ref was
a disaster, but I don't think it caused us a game. Like VAR though. Can we just do away with VAR? Because that's the point, isn't it? I get it was offside, fine. But in a Champions League semi-final, you can't celebrate a goal for 3 minutes, you know? MLS plays with ego and pride. That guy played cage football.
Even, what's his name? Desiree Doué. He was really good today.
Oh, God, he is good.
He's quality, man.
He really is good. He really is. I mean, I thought Barcola was great, but
when he came on, he could have scored.
I know. I thought Barcola was going to start because normally the thing with Enrique is he plays Barcola if he thinks they're going to have less possession, and he plays Doué if they think they're going to have more. So I think we got out tactic by Luis Enrique. But yeah, like, I mean, Kvaratskhelia is just so
how did we not
frightening.
sign him, man?
I don't know. I think there's oil money.
Oh, maybe high wages or some shady deal going on.
Shady, I'm sure. I'm not even emotional. PSG were far better tactically and we weren't clinical. Martinelli has to equalise before half. Yeah, I mean, the big players do. The travelling Arsenal supporters are phenomenal. They can see for that. I think that's true, you know. But I don't know what our allocation is going to be. If it's like 2,500,
there'll be all corporate fans too. Today, even there was so many corporate seats.
It is depressing. Arsenal classic 80s movie and soundtrack against all odds we will prevail. I love that. I'm starring. That's my favourite comment of the day.
Did you listen to Arteta's post-match? Sorry.
No, I didn't. Was it good?
No.
No, it wasn't good, or no, you didn't hear it. Or...
No,
give me more to work with.
It wasn't good. It was pretty much fluff, the usual fluff. I believe we can turn it around in Paris.
Yeah. What would you want him to say?
That Odegaard needs to be dropped. But he would never do that.
No, I mean, like, no one ever does. I don't get the point in press conferences. I mean, unless it's Ange Postecoglou, who seems to walk about in his mouth. You know.
And he talks about the fans, Ange Postecoglou, all the time.
I know, it's just brilliant, isn't it? I mean, if you don't like Tottenham, I can't miss one of his press conferences. I keep thinking it's going to be the one he does the Conte meltdown, you know. Being a Villa fan almost certainly means you're from Birmingham. They have enough problems.
Yeah, pick a struggle.
White, red with black check. It ain't over. We can do damage. It is not over. I know it's not over. Timber got worked by Kvaratskhelia. Listen, mate, actually, when you think about this game, what we're throwing Miles Lewis-Skelly into and what he's coping with is absurd.
Yeah.
I thought Timber did as well as he could. Timber wasn't at his best. I think he's carrying a knock. But Miles Lewis-Skelly, behave yourself.
Picking out the right passes, taking his man on, so confident on the ball, off the ball. He was brilliant.
He's immense. He's immense. He's absolutely immense. Dembele, KK, and Donna were excellent. Do you mean Donnarumma or Doué? Because I think the front three of theirs is on fire at the moment. They play well together. And how they didn't score a second, they had two really good chances at the end. PSG looked way better than they actually are. I can't stress enough that Arteta got the selection wrong with Partey out. I think we're all agreeing on that, aren't we? I don't think there's anyone here that hasn't at some point agreed that Trossard didn't work, right? Can we all agree on that? Trossard's not a starter for me. It didn't. The interchange with Marino didn't work.
Yeah.
We was too slow for the first 30 minutes, especially Marino. We never got our spaces right. Rice doesn't know whether to stick or twist. It was a mess. Poor spacing marking. I agree with all of that, Social. And then two strikers would walk into this team. Yeah. We're going to have loads of time to talk about it. I can't get my head around it. Is Gyökeres coming or isn't he? Like, just somebody put me out of my misery. I'm sick of this season. I really am.
Too much paper talk.
Everybody's
the window's
talking.
Not even open yet.
So much shit.
Because so many teams need a number 9, not just us.
Yeah, Man United. Well, obviously, front four betrayed us. Betrayed's a strong word. I'm not even that. Boitendio, I'm sure we'll be in the semis next season if Arteta is keeping his job. It's a cup competition, man. Like, when people go, oh, we haven't taken the cup seriously enough. I don't think that's the case. I think it's just cups. One bad game, you're out. When you think about the games we've played in the Champions League this season, we've had the away defeat to Inter, which we showed a lot more fight than this. And this has been our two bad performances, really, isn't it? Am I missing one?
No, this was like one of the Champions League wise. Yeah, this was
Atalanta draw. I remember that was pretty disappointing. But, Atalanta are no mugs. So, yeah, we've had, but then that's what it is. We took the semi-final. We've taken the Champions League seriously enough. No one's going to say we haven't. We just came apart in one game when it really, really matters. Really, really matters.
I don't think it's over yet, though.
No, it's half time. Our game plan was awful. First half didn't sit in banks properly, poor cohesion. I agree with that. I know you already said it on the stream, but I genuinely can't believe we didn't put in a bid for it's one of the most frustrating things, isn't it? We said it, we've been saying it on this stream since January. Like when he went to Paris Saint-Germain, it was always like, for that much money.
Right there.
How are you not putting in his salary, his apparent salary is just not that much either. Kvaratskhelia, I think you have to say, is the best left winger in European football right now.
Yeah, he is.
I mean,
consistently, even at Napoli, he was quality.
Yeah, I mean, he helped Napoli win their first Serie A since Maradona.
Final, yeah.
Not bad. And now it looks like he might go to Paris Saint-Germain, win the title. And I think if they get past us in the second leg, which they're favourites to do, I think they will beat either Inter or Barcelona. And I don't hate that. I need us to win it. Conference League, winning that is like me claiming I won the egg and spoon race in primary school in 1978. Well, did you? Did you? Now we have another person joining us. I think. Would you please join me in welcoming? Don't waste the trip, Gary. Yes. How are you doing, mate?
Gary.
Hello.
How are you?
Hey there.
Are you going to cheer me up, or are you going to?
I don't know how. I saw the chat and I didn't know how to. I know I wanted to chat, but I didn't know if I was going to be able to cheer you up.
Gary didn't want.
You know what? Okay. Here we go.
Gary didn't want to deal with Rosie in the chat, so he came on the panel instead.
Oh, you know what? I didn't even.
You're still on trial, Gary. Don't forget that.
Oh, jeez. I'm working. I don't have time for that. Play those like little games. Like play. It's like playtime. I don't want to play. This is adult stuff we're doing here now.
You're making it sound more exciting than it is now. Go on then. So what's your hot take?
I'll say this. I've been saying it for as long as I can remember this season. Our defense is really good.
Yeah.
And nobody's scoring 2 goals on us. And
True.
that's been pretty much how things have gone so far. So the fact that they got the 1 goal is lucky for them, because we pretty much, it could have been a 0-0 game because we didn't play so well. Once we settled into the game, they didn't really get much. They didn't really threaten us as much as they seemed to in that first 20 minutes, where we looked really poor. Right. So that first 20 minutes we looked really bad, and just they got that. I I go back to that play. I'm like, Declan Rice sees Dembele and then decides to double up on the guy on the outside, and I'm like, and he doesn't, and you can see Dembele's surrounded by nobody. He's got nobody on him, and you can't leave their best attacker.
But you're right.
Essentially,
But
at
then
that
I
point.
will keep saying this, because as much as you described that perfectly, it's like I was watching it happen in real time, going, "Don't leave Dembele standing there," and he goes to double team, which is, I get it. But when you're doing that, you have to know that Marino is going to take Dembele.
You got to communicate. I don't think he communicated to anybody. So nobody came up to fill the
Thomas
hole.
Partey would have been there. Thomas Partey would have been. That was
But
exactly.
I think that falls on the 2 center backs who should have been covering.
Yeah.
I think it's just too. I think that's the reason Dembele takes that position, because you can't really, as a centre back, it takes balls. If you've got Kvaratskhelia on the left, who could burst into the area, to go ahead and block off Dembele there, it takes one of you out of position. I think the natural thing, looking back at it, is that Marino is just waltzing back really slowly, doesn't seem to perceive the threat at all, which is not really forgivable. And that Declan Rice, in real time watching it, he's like, do I go to the man? And he was. The best things about Declan Rice are his energy, his boundless energy. He has that kind of Great Dane puppy thing going on. But in this one, it was like, I'm going to go and get the man. And he should have just stayed where he was. And, I don't want to be hypercritical, because we know Declan Rice.
No, you're right. If I think if Partey is there, Partey is the one going for the double team on the outside, and Declan's the one probably that sees the danger on that side of the pitch.
And then he doesn't have to go.
And then he's just standing there, and Dembele has to think about it, and probably won't get that shut off because there's somebody there. Like, in general, if Declan is playing a 6, right, we're supposed to have an 8 in front of him that's trailing him, and that Declan's always going to get back. Now, Erdegaard, I think he's on the right-hand side, right? Erdegaard comes off the right, if I recall. Right?
I don't know.
So, like, when you see the replay and you see the goal get scored, there's 2 players above the 18. One of them, of course, is Trossard, and I can't remember who. I think the other one is Erdegaard, who's coming back. He's late to get back there, so that's why we left that space wide open. Like, nobody comes over to Everybody should rotate over because the ball's over there anyways, but nobody does, and we kind of left ourselves. That won't happen, right? With Partey there, that won't happen with Erdegaard. I think in a different situation, in a different command of the team, if he plays. But we had our chances to score.
We did, but it wasn't like. What was the best chance? Martinelli's probably the best chance, wasn't it?
Martinelli's would have been the best. The header was just a bad timing on just the offsides, right? But I think we gave ourselves chances in this game. If we have Moreno up top, it looks different. If we have Partey in the middle, it looks different. I think if in Weary, who actually lays the ball off to Martinelli for that late pass, if he plays for, like, I don't know, say 10, 20, 30 minutes in this match.
30 minutes.
Maybe
on tonight, you would have given him 30 minutes. If I had a DeLorean, I could go back. I would just chuck him on. Like, what is the damage with 30 minutes to go? Because you can say, oh, that's unusual. Odegaard's playing really badly. And you go, well, it's only unusual if you haven't been watching since January. It's really unusual. Oh, it's like when we had Willian. I said this right at the start of the stream. It's like, oh, I'll keep playing Willian. He's bound to come good. It's like, stop it. Like, I know that Arteta knows a lot more about football than me, but anyone can see that Martin Odegaard has not been Martin Odegaard for the last 4 or 5 months. So stop, take him out of his misery and give Nwaneri, who's, you've got Miles Lewis-Skelly showing what a young man can do when he's fearless out there. If you've got a game where there's space and someone needs to drive forward with the ball, and it isn't Odegaard, because Odegaard gets the ball in a good position. There's a couple of times he tried that through ball to Saka out, but usually he gets the ball and he'll turn with it and he'll lay it back, and you just simply don't have that right now. Yeah.
But the reason why I brought that up is because as bad as we played, those are things we can correct, right?
Yeah.
Well, we're going to correct it really easy with a Partey starting with the Moreno up top. So that means Trossard. I think we haven't figured out a way to unlock him in these types of the games, the way this game was played out, and we probably should have tried. Like that's why we needed to make that move, like a move with like in Weary, because that's the only attacker we have on the bench. I mean,
so you're keeping Trossard on the bench next game, right? Like before.
Oh, for sure, he's not. Yes,
100%, and he's more impactful off the bench than when he starts, in my opinion.
Yeah. No, I definitely Moreno gets up. Partey. You're gonna have Partey and Cotton Wool, whatever, and make sure he's starting in the next match.
Do you know what? Like, this is really unfair of me, and I've said this before, so maybe you'll understand from context. Where in the last few seasons, Thomas Partey's picked up injuries, and like I know when you're injured, right? Yeah. But it's always the big matches. It's always like City. Partey's out, and he's put that right this season, although it's probably his last season. And then now when you think back to Declan Rice really shouting at him, I think it is because Declan Rice realizes, shit, I'm going to have to do your job now, and we don't that means I can't do what I did against Madrid. Thomas Partey.
That was really, that was it. Why he came out of nowhere just to get a yellow?
That was such an unnecessary yellow too.
he just ran up and said, "Can I get a yellow, please?" I don't know why, but I feel like I need a yellow. It's like, no, you don't. Oh, that's one of those where Declan needed to turn, looked up faster, and just tackled him. And it's like, why is he tackling him? Because he's about to run to Rudiger, and we don't. I'd rather you can't give a yellow because you tackled your own man, right?
No, I don't think you can.
Yeah.
I've never seen it, but if I tell you what, if there's a team on earth that's going to get a yellow card for that, it'll be us.
He tackled his own man. Yeah, that's a yellow.
Yeah,
what?
Yeah,
that's
a
dangerous
Saka got
play.
a yellow today for taking the ball away.
Well, my God! Yeah. Oh my God! That's an Arsenal hate thing, isn't it? It's like, oh yeah, he goes over and he goes, "Come on now," and you didn't know he's got to get a straight yellow.
Oh my God, that's right.
Well, you know what? I think it was in retaliation because I don't think he fouled him. That's just two players going for the ball.
Yeah,
and then Partey and Saka gets the ball, and you're like, great, no foul. And you're like, oh, the guy was going down as soon as Saka touched him, and I don't mean like pushed him.
But the replay makes that perfectly and abundantly clear. There is no way on God's earth that is a free kick. So. In the frustration of that moment, but there was and I forget which Paris Saint-Germain player it was that kicked the ball away in the first half and didn't get a yellow card. And so
I think it was João Neves, right?
Yeah, I think you're right. I think it was Neves. It's just like I hate referees.
We're lucky. We are lucky, right? Timber did not get a yellow. He put himself in a lot of dangerous situations.
That was a dangerous tackle.
I mean, that arm around the stomach. That could have been easily given a yellow. Nobody could say a damn thing about it.
No, that's true.
He went down easy. He definitely went down easy, but you bent your hand around his waist at that.
We've got some players who consistently do that as well. So I'm not in the mood to bitch about people who go down easy. We've got
No, but we got lucky, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, we definitely. Lucky. You're not getting any argument on that from me. 100%. I felt like not that I didn't think we got a lot of luck, but we did have some. Timid. Odegaard was timid. Timid is the word for the day.
Can I just add something to what Gary said about our defense being solid? I don't know if you guys noticed in the second half, the clearance that William Saliba made was brilliant. He was on top of his game today, and I know last game he made a mistake for.
It didn't matter, did it? Like
We were
You know
already
what? When you're
winning.
4-0 up on aggregate and you give away a goal, it's like, oh, yeah,
Take
I
it,
might still
have
want to
it.
play here one day.
Yeah.
But I think he was good today. Marino and Lewis Kelly would be my 3 players to mention. But for them, I would have to say Kvaratskhelia, Barcola off the bench, Doué, and even Dembele.
Come on,
Dembele, phenomenal. Yeah.
Dembele may be injured for the next match.
They said he has a hamstring injury, that he didn't want to come off. They forced him to come off. So.
Do you know what? Since his Dortmund days, when we signed Aubameyang, I remember being really like, it's not Aubameyang we should be signing. It's Dembele, because playing off the left, he was putting balls on a plate for Aubameyang game after game after game. He was the best player, right, in that team, I thought. And
we needed a striker, though.
No, I'm I'm talking about way back before we signed Aubameyang.
But
right?
we still needed a striker. We had
Lacazette.
No, but I'm going to say it again, just so you can hear what I'm about to say. But we needed a striker.
We did that, and it didn't work. So what I'm saying is, we got. You're right, okay? Because that's what we did. We went, okay, Lacazette isn't the guy. Let's get Aubameyang. He's nailed on to score goals. He will score us goals. But I think we have the same thing. Often people look at we need a striker to finish the goals. But if you've got a player like Dembele who's putting them on a plate, then someone like Marino can score you those goals. And I'm not talking about right now, but I'm talking about a massive, like when you watch a team, I was watching a lot of German football at the time. I just loved Dembele. He was my favorite player. The move to Barcelona, I thought, was for a lot of money, but I thought he was worth it. And then it just was not working. And he was lacking confidence, and it just was not working. And I kind of had just about given up on him when he pulled the rug out from under Barcelona and did the dirty on them and went to PSG. And I thought, you know what? Maybe I'm wrong about you. Maybe you're not a character. Then when he fell out with Luis Enrique for turning up late for training, I thought, you know what? You've had your last chance, and Luis Enrique is going to ditch you because he's merciless. And now look at it. He is back to, he's a better player than he was at Dortmund. It's ridiculous. I totally get your point that we needed to sign Aubameyang, but how did it work out for us?
Well, I mean, we got an FA Cup out of it, and he was basically one of the key people for that reason. I think
FA never gets any credit for that. That FA Cup was one of the most expensive bits of silverware in history, wasn't it?
Very true, very true. But Aubameyang is what put in the 2 goals, right? And that's what his job is, and that's what he did.
We haven't even replaced him properly.
So
no, we haven't replaced him at all. We haven't replaced him at all.
So, yeah. No, I wish Arteta would have been I don't think he would have done it, but taken a risk and said, you know what, maybe Nweri plays in the middle, maybe Zinchenko plays in the middle, maybe somebody else plays in the middle, or Miles Lewis Skelly gets to move into the middle, and then let Marino play up top, because I think I don't like when we make so many changes, especially like at this point where we are on paper thin in terms of our qualities, our form staying the same when we make switches, right? On the back line, I think we're fine, but when you get into the middle and up top, when we have to make changes, like Trossard to Moreno right now, there's a big gap between those two, right? Having to move Rice back into Partey's spot right now, we lose a lot there, because we lose what Rice gives us in the 8, and then we lose what Partey gives us in the 6. So now you just weaken 2 positions in one, with that move there. So you got so I think I would have rather just make the minimal amount of moves we could have and kept people in their better positions, and because Rice is going to run anyways.
Yeah, exactly. He's whether you put him further back or further forward, he's going to go after. He is that Great Dane puppy that is just chased, and I love him for it. Yeah, I wish every player tonight had the same energy as Miles Lewis Skelly and Declan Rice. And I agree with you, and I think there is a point here where, whilst I would not necessarily have started differently to Arteta, I think I probably would have done the same thing. Trossard, Marino deep. I would have hoped for more interchanging between Trossard and Marino, like we saw with Kai Havertz and Trossard when we played Paris. But if you're not going to start with something different, like a Zinchenko in midfield and Nweri, one of these things, then surely by the 60th bloody minute, you're like, okay, well, we've done an hour of this now, and
Yeah.
It's
By
just
30 minutes, I'm like, no, this is not going to work.
yeah.
And maybe you put somebody in to start to finish off the first half so they can get their feet wet a little bit before, because he won't bring somebody in. He typically will not bring somebody in after halftime, but he
No.
might bring. It's not like he hasn't been sitting on the bench next to Pep, his mentor, and watch him sub in the first half of a match, and then sub again the same position because it still wasn't working. Like, dude, you can do it. It's okay. Some games you might have to do it.
It's absolutely true that the elite level man. There was a question. Obviously, Arteta was asked in the pre-match thing. They showed it, and they said, "Do you have to win the Champions League to be an elite manager?" And I went, "Yep." And I was like, "Then you need to turn this question around a little bit. You need to be able to roll the dice if you're an elite manager. You need to be able to do something, to pull something out of the bag. You need to think differently. You can't just sit there on your hands for 83 minutes and just hope that something changes." Miss Molina.
I want to contradict that. I think in Arteta's defense, I think in Arteta's defense, we don't have the players on the bench to make an impact. If you look at our bench today, who did we have that could have made an impact other than Ethan Nwaneri?
Yeah, but that's why.
Then your contradiction is because you weren't paying attention, Miss Molina. And I urge you, going forward, please pay close attention to things that Gary and I are saying, because in those nuggets of wisdom,
the chosen one.
Right. Well, no, not that, but you're saying, listen, we've just said, here are some things you could do. I'm looking at that game and I'm thinking, okay, Odegaard is not working. Is there a position on the pitch I could put Odegaard where he would have more impact? All right, probably not. So very prima facie, very obvious. What we do is we just take Odegaard off and put Nwaneri on. That's one option. Then there's other options like Kieran Tierney on the left with Martinelli down the middle. That's an option. I know our bench isn't great. I'm not here to blame anyone for it. But I do think Alexander Zinchenko with the through passing would have been more effective than Martin Odegaard. So as a like-for-like substitution, I could see that happening. Equally, I could see Kieran Tierney coming on as a left-back and Miles Lewis-Skelly moving into his better position as a defensive midfielder in place of Thomas Partey. And I would allow Declan Rice to go into the 8 with Marino up top. These are all things we could have tried. What he actually chose to try was fuck all.
Yeah.
And that, I think, had it worked, had we somehow grown into the game in a way that was completely unexpected for me, I would now be sitting here going, God, the man's a genius. Sometimes doing nothing is the right thing to do. But when you have that, and I've used that in my own life, in my own working life, at times you go, right, I don't know what to do, so I'm going to do nothing and hope it gets better. But let's be honest, that's the risk you take, because doing nothing, people go, well, why didn't you do something? And you go, and that's where we are tonight.
What that shows for me, and has shown for me all the time, is the confidence and trust that he has in players to come in and do the job. Right? We need somebody to do a job for us today. And he looked at his bench and said, I don't see anybody that can help me do the job. And I'm like, well, one, in where he should, like, this all goes back for me. Third game of the season, Odegaard goes down with an ankle injury and where he doesn't come on. Yeah. Wait a second. So he's not the backup for Odegaard. So what is he now? Because Saka's not coming off, right? So he's not playing there. So what is he? And he played everybody in that midfield. Trossard, Kai, everybody. And Wary, not much. He plays in the cup matches, right? Looks good there. Doesn't get.
Well, like, you know what, so, Gary? Like the whole thing with this was when Odegaard went down on international duty, there were a lot of people. I don't think Nwaneri's ready. Since then, we've seen enough to know that he is. But then Odegaard comes back, and you go, "Oh, it's a shame we never tried Nwaneri." And then you realise Nwaneri is better than Odegaard right now. And your point, which I'm sorry to interrupt you, but your point is really well observed. He doesn't trust Nwaneri off the bench because he's presumably too young. But he's got Miles Lewis-Skelly. He plays him against Madrid both games. That's a hell of a risky move.
Those 100 days between the two of them in age
makes a big difference, right?
That's what I think is going on there. It's like, if he was 100 days older, he would have got like, for me, it's like Dude, the only reason why you're playing Miles Lewis Kelly because you had injuries and you just rotate around, you found, and you hit
You've got like
lightning.
5 other people who can play left back.
But they don't play better than Skelly. That's the
No
problem.
one plays better than Miles Lewis Kelly. Is Maradona-esque for me. I think he's wonderful. But there is something, I think there is a lot to be said for he doesn't trust the bench. But if I break it down, if I'm going to be super reductive about this, and I do want to race through the comments in a second, but I'm going to put this out there because I'd like you both to either say, Dan, you're full of shit, or to agree, or we can discuss it. Their criticisms of Mikel Arteta have been, for me, over time. 1, doesn't trust the young players enough, doesn't integrate the young players enough. 2, does not make the changes early enough in a game to be decisive. And 3, what is 3 actually? I've totally forgotten what 3 is. But those 2 are playing a part now. Not trusting the youth, not trusting your bench, constantly sticking with some. Oh, that's the 3rd one, the most important one. When something's not working,
you don't change it.
To change it. You can't go, well, Willian will come good, because football doesn't work like that. You got 90 minutes to make a difference. And it felt like we waited just too long. And it felt like there's something through the team where everyone just thinks there's another 90 minutes coming if we don't score. And it felt like that when the first time it felt like that, I would say, was when we played Brighton 2 years ago and collapsed 3-0 at home. There are times where Bayern last season where we just didn't. There are games where you think, right, we'll come out, we'll put this team to the sword, and we just come out and kind of go, and you can't be that. You can't be that. So I've got to rattle through these because we've got some new people, and I want to say hi. And I'm really excited about 1 or 2 of these. Boyten Diaz Zinchenko could have started the left back today. Yes, yep. Hopefully we've covered a lot of the different options. Miss Molina was admitting that she was wrong originally there. She did it quietly, but I heard it. Run up the likes, folks. Not sure I'll be back here. What? Run up the likes. At least not sure I'll be back tonight. I had to stay. Don't go. Right, I need a strong drink. Yeah, but this is as good as a strong drink. Kermit's middle finger. Ribbit. Trossard, Odegaard are players I see at the 7-8 aside all the time. I call them not serious guys. They just play to get on the ball and twirl and do step overs, not serious guys. Harsh. I get where you're coming from. Our players look tired and they had no games this weekend. I know, it's so annoying, isn't it? We don't attack with enough variety to turn this around. We can do. We can get a couple of really good corners. Yes, just on a lily pad. I don't think I've ever heard you say anything but ribbit, Kermit. Arsenal were absolute dog poo do tonight. Season over, lads. Joking. Let's not do that just yet. We can do that next week. Smashed away. Herbie crashed the tractor. Martinelli on a bench player. The guy never picks his head up. I mean, that's what you were saying, Miss Molina. He does need to look up occasionally. I would like to see.
I don't know what he's looking for on the ground, but then again, I also walk looking at the ground, so I can't say anything.
No, listen. I mean, I think it goes out saying that my criticisms of Martinelli are not because I could do so much better. It's just that I've seen other players who could do so much better. Lone Star Londoner, PSG versus Inter final. I think it'd be Barca. And here we are. This one I was really excited about because I watched Miss Molina go on
Retro.
to like.
Hi, Retro.
There's something very compelling about your panel, Retro Music Man. Please do check him out. It was really good. But
Retro, that was awesome last week.
It was awesome. It was funny. It was nice. You shouldn't really pick on someone like Luca because he's
unless you do it like Retro. That was awesome.
Oh yeah, Retro. I would say like if you're engaging Luca in a battle of wits, he is unarmed, so it is a bit unfair. But you know, if you're gonna do it with the kind of humor and panache that Retro Music Man did it with. You are very welcome here, and it's great to see you. I know football isn't your big thing, but you can watch the show with Schadenfreude. You can enjoy our sadness tonight. Perhaps we can get you on and you could do a song. That would be amazing. Arteta has peaked. If Stan Kroenke gives him money this summer, proves that he's nothing more than a business. I think we've got to get out of this modality. This very 1990s English football modality of thinking that the manager gets the money. The point of having a sporting director is, like at Brighton, like at the big clubs, they have a style of football they play, and the managers are interchangeable. They are responsible for the tactics in game, but the overarching mode of play is directed by the sports director. And so it will be Andrea that gets the money, and that's that. And I don't think Arteta's going to have final say on anything, but he should on some level have veto. 51, you're young. Haha. I definitely don't feel it. So hello, host and co-host. Melina, I think
Retro.
she knows. Yes, we
I
all
know
do. Retro. Is Miss Melina from Canada? Yes, she is.
Yes.
A beautiful country. The 51st
I'm
state.
from the 51st state.
You're saying that with so much resignation now. It's almost painful to.
I'm devastated.
Easier about it.
No, you can't say that. Take it back. All right, take that back. You don't want any part of this.
Actually,
just stay where you are.
Actually, Gary, with the Prime Minister that just won our election yesterday,
the former Bank of England, chairman of the Bank of England.
Yeah, I'd rather have Trump than him.
Oh no, that's not good. That's not good at all.
I'm serious, Gary, with all my heart.
Oh wow, that is sad. I thought it was only bad here.
This is worse
than globally. Listen, when America sneezes, the world catches a cold. We're all screwed. We've got everyone screwed everywhere. So it'll all work out in the end, as long as we can get past Paris Saint-Germain.
No, the one thing let's say the one thing you had your 3 points and whatnot, but for me, if we're keeping Arteta, the only way I see this getting better is if you give him what he needs, right? They talk about Arteta, he give you what you need. No, we need to give him what he needs. He needs.
What do you mean by
he needs better players because he's
not. I worry about that.
Yeah,
because I agree with you, and I think it'd be hard to not agree with you. It's such a good point, but I felt that way when he let Fabio Vieira, Emil Smith-Rowe, Reece Nelson, and Eddie Nketiah go. They didn't backfill those positions with better players. He didn't trust those guys on the bench, and he doesn't trust the guys on the bench now. There is a part of me that's starting to think there's that great scene in Moneyball where in the end he has to basically sack the players he doesn't want the coach to use because he keeps playing the wrong people in the wrong way. And I think Andrea Berta may have to do that. He might have to go, no, you're not getting anyone else. But we'll see, won't we? We're going to spend £1 billion this summer. It's all going to be better.
Well, no, I mean, I hear what you're saying. I've already said all these are your players, all of them. Sterling's your player, so you better big him up. You better big him up. He come like the way he's treating him. It was as if he forced him they forced him to come to Arsenal.
I think that is right. I think from what Edu said, Edu said that the last minute deal came up for Sterling, and they felt they should take it. So what we're supposed to think then is that Edu said to Arteta, look, we're probably not going to get anyone in the window. And then at the last minute said, oh, well, we could get Sterling. And Arteta probably wasn't like, yes, Raheem the dream. He's the one I've wanted all along. Not Šeško, not Isak, but yes, Sterling. I think it was one of those ones where the first few weeks in training, Arteta was like, what the fuck's happened to you? I remember when you used to be able to beat your man.
But if he's old, though, right?
He's not old. He's 30. Stop it.
He's old, man. He's old.
He's not Luka Modric, is he?
There's different kind of old, right? Old looks different.
But
old looks different for somebody who had his pace and all that stuff, right?
I don't think
the whole thing I thought he was going to be able to do is come in and at least get us a couple of PKs in the box because he was so shifty and stuff. He can't do that. He can't do that.
We don't know. But listen, I was obviously completely wrong because I thought he's a sort of player who it's always been about positioning and intelligence. He's not electrifyingly quick and beating people. He's just in and around the right place and he's got a clinical finish. So I thought he would fit our style quite well. Boy, was I wrong.
Yeah.
Here's a good question.
Well, like I said, if we think that Arteta isn't going to be able to do it with the players that he's got, and we're not going to get him more players, then he's the wrong manager. Then because you know what I mean. So you have options. Either you help him along, which is what I thought they should have done since day one. Like day one when he came in, like he should have gotten everything he wanted, and they need a top player in this position. Go get that player.
I think it was interfered with a little bit by COVID.
Don't get a B or C. Well, and you know what I was saying in COVID? Spend the money now. Spend the money. You're going to get cheaper players in COVID time.
I think it's easy now with the benefit of hindsight.
No.
but
I was saying no.
Yeah,
I was
none of us
saying
were
this.
sure there was going to be a post-COVID.
I was saying this.
I thought we were going to live the rest of our lives in our living
I
rooms.
was saying this in COVID time. I was saying spend the money now because people want teams were like running low on funds, right? Arsenal
like
supposedly
we sacked people. We sacked Gunnosaurus, Gary.
Yeah.
Like it was
Arsenal
bad
supposedly had cash money sitting there for players that they could have purchased.
We
I think they should have done it. I think
fired the tea lady.
No, I know.
Lady. Good.
I think
it's
the same way that Manchester United has no money for players, but they're building a new stadium. So it's all priorities and stuff like that in my eyes. I know there's different ways the money comes around, but
no one's securing a loan against a footballer in the same way they are against the stadium. Like that's you remortgage your house. It's easier than remortgaging your kids. Yeah. Like just saying, But Listen, I get it. I wasn't sure there was going to be a post-COVID. I was just about getting used to the idea that I might go and have to hunt my food. I live in the countryside. It was all good. Now look at us. We're back in. But I'm going to raise that. This is a great question from Earth Vader, right? If you was at the Emirates, please spell the Emirates right, though. Bristol. Emirates. Is that you just spelling it how you say it now? And you bumped into Luca. What would you talk about? I'd probably talk about the food. I might talk about the decor. I certainly wouldn't be talking to him about the football. Forget that. Shit. I've heard it all. This is the thing that, I'm not against, people having an opinion, but if it's the same fucking opinion every time, this fan base, it's like, if those toys. I remember when I was a kid, a friend of mine had a Bugs Bunny doll with a string, and you pulled it. He said, "What's up, Doc?" Right? Like that's Luca with the string, but he'd pull his own string like that. Fucking. This manager. Someone take the batteries out of him. Anyway, Timber worked his ass off today. Glad he got his emotions in check. Yep. Timber ain't even fit. Played too many games for it. Oh, mate, that's true. He's definitely played too many games. Timber was lucky. I have to rattle through these. I just want to say, Lloyd Lashaba, brilliant that you're here from South Africa. Fantastic to see you. Don't forget to hit a quick like on the Facebook. And then here we are. Question, Melina, would you bring back Xhaka for a season? No, don't be silly.
No, that ship has sailed.
Yeah. And anyway, all the best, guys. I'm out joking. Great to see you. Thanks for coming by. Trossard, just too fair weather, not serious guy. My love affair with Trossard is now well and truly over. I actually wrote down when I was watching the match, Drossard. And Drossard with a D. I was like...
Dross, absolute Dross.
Yes. I was like, Odegaard, it just kind of, when you play with it, Odegaard, it does sound like something you'd wear after the gym. But he'd stank the place up. That was a pun I was going for. Odegaard, how strong, how hard. Yeah. Anyway. Where are we? So I'm kind of catching up with these. No interplay, two strikers. Teams ain't ready for that. It's not a new idea, in fairness. People have previously. That goal we conceded was criminal. Dembele had more time than Rolex. Ooh.
That's a good one.
It kind of feels like he spent too much time thinking about that. Or, when someone says something, it is funny, but they're a little bit too pleased with themselves. I'm being harsh, but that one is a bit like...
You're just mad because you didn't think of it. That's all.
I
never do. I've never thought of a single one. I can never do those. I watch expressions oozing, and I'm like, how does he do? These just pop up at him. I'm like, as tired as a very tired thing. I don't have the imagination for it.
He called Andrew Razor Ruddock on the weekend.
I know. I saw that. You posted that. He's got more. They're all brilliant. They just flow out of him.
It's awesome.
Arsenal are like an 80s soundtrack. You spin me right round. Gary's channel. Yep. Sam Greenwood. Where are the slags tonight? Oh, Tom's here. Sunday night, 21:05.
Sam Greenwood must have called it an early night.
Who was that, Sam Greenwood? He probably... Do you know what? I think he didn't actually get to watch it. I think he was on a really dodgy stream. I think he was... Probably didn't see it. What a shit game. You know, for something that comes around, like my missus, I was like, you know, this is only the third time it's happened. I'm 51 years old. It's every 17 years on average we get to one of these. She just wants like a comet. It's like waiting for a comet to come around. I was like, yeah, like a comet that might smash into the earth. Fucking not 2009. I couldn't even enjoy that game for 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Because fucking like, I mean, 11 minutes and they'd scored twice and it was all over. I had to sit through the rest of that match like, this, what do we do from here? Oh, we'll come next year. You know, and this year I'm still sitting down thinking, right, they've scored.
Well, you know what? We get to say this that we always used to say, right? Well, if this was Arsenal a couple of years ago and we were playing a similar game today, we would already be down probably 2 or 3 in the first 20 minutes. But guess what? We're not that Arsenal anymore. So that's why the game came out the way it did.
That would be very little crumb of comfort.
No, that's what I'm saying. I'm not living on that one. That's for sure. But I just, like I said, the positive is we can do a hell of a lot better, right?
Yeah,
we did.
And
Even with what we had on the pitch, there was no one. I think the team came out flat. I don't know if that's because they didn't play for. Everybody says no, don't play them, and then we see what happens when they don't play. So so is the problem is they didn't play over the weekend, or is the problem that something else? I think if they played, we might see something different coming in, right?
Right, like too much rest might be a bad
PSG
thing.
played. They didn't look good, but they played, right? And they looked okay when they came out, right? We didn't
and they
play over
played
the
a
weekend.
full strength team against Nice too.
Yeah, so I kind of feel like
no, that's not fair. They subbed a lot of players in.
There's something, but they got out there and they competed against somebody else, not themselves.
I think it's one of the best points so far, honestly, Gary. I think that for all of the people, everyone has this. I suppose my biggest problem with football, and when I take the piss out of people like Luca, it's because there's all these people around there that just have the world. To me, as an older guy, now seems like all the idiots think they have the solutions by saying, "Well, just get." Just rest all the good players for that. And you go, yeah, but that's not how elite sports works. They have to be in the right momentum, and we just don't play them, wrap them in cotton wool, and then you have a game like tonight, and you think, should we have played them? These are really complicated decisions. Whilst I'm sitting here saying Mikel Arteta should have done something, to be fair, I don't know. I think he probably did enact certain different strategies at half time that just didn't work. But there are a lot of people who just need to go and buy a striker. If you go and sign a striker, you win the league. Yeah, it definitely worked for Real Madrid, didn't it? Add a world-class striker to your team, and oh no, hang on, it didn't. Equally, where's the world-class striker that Paris Saint-Germain? I mean, Doué is not there are ways of doing things that aren't just the really obvious thing, like get Brexit done and make America great again, right? Let's all just go. Sometimes the answer is not. Because the thing that gets me about people like Luca, that when they sit there and go, this manager, and you go, do you think the rest of us are so stupid we can't see what's so obvious to you? Like, you're sitting there going, what the answer is? Just go and get Carlo Ancelotti as manager. That's why Everton won the Champions League. That's what worked. Like sometimes the answer isn't as simple as simple people think the answer is. That's all. And the rest of us can kind of go, we can have a gentleman's agreement or disagreement about whether there should have been changes. But we can accept that these are tough decisions. And that decision that you're talking about there, I think, is the toughest one. It's like, do you rest the players or do you play them? It's a Hobson's choice. If you play Declan Rice and he gets injured, or you did play Declan Rice, but if you play a player and he gets injured, everyone's like, what the hell were you doing?
Yeah.
In the end, as a manager.
But the only reason why everybody's saying that is because the league is done. In reality, if we were still if it was last season, we're not sitting anyone. And everyone's saying you're not sitting anyone. And nobody would care that we're playing in the quarterfinals the next week.
You just reminded me that's another criticism I have of Arteta. So I make that 4, because if you cast your mind back to the Europa League when we played Sporting and he played Saliba, but he didn't play other players, and it was this hodgepodge of some players played, and it was the worst of both worlds. And Robbie at AFTV got in trouble for going, got bigger fish to fry. But that makes perfect sense. If you don't have a squad big enough to fight on 2 fronts, the hunter who chases 2 rabbits usually catches neither. So you've got to go, we're doing this. This season, Arteta came out with that ridiculous press conference saying, we're not going to give up on the league. It's like, well, no, you can give up on the league because you're 15 points behind. That is giving up on the league.
Yeah. And the way the teams play, he won't take the risk to help them.
Yeah.
Just to help them to get, instead of having, like, we're getting draws when we shouldn't get draws, and maybe if you took a risk with an Nweri, you gave him more minutes, maybe you might score that one goal to give you to break that draw, right? Maybe, but you're not taking that risk. So then, guess what? You're playing average. The average is that, guess what? They won't score on us because our defense is solid, right? But guess what? You got to score to win these day and age. I mean, we drew to Forest. Why? Because we couldn't finish.
I didn't hate that. I didn't hate that.
Well, we had opportunities to score in that. We weren't
What
clinical,
about the
and that's why
Everton one?
we lost to West Ham. What is that all about, right?
That was a bizarre. That's the this is what I'm saying. Bayern last season, Aston Villa last season, Brighton the season before, Southampton the season before. They were just aberrant games where you go, what the actual? Because that West Ham game this season, I don't think we've played that badly. We just haven't reached what we needed to. Too many draws. But the West Ham game, we're all like, right, we can definitely, 3 points here. And then it's like watching it and just thinking, why is everyone walking around? Like, we've got to win this. This is you can't lose at home to West Ham and win the title. And then it's like, where are West Ham, man? They're like 17th, it's 18th, 16th. It's like, so that's a weird one. And tonight, it never occurred to me. I thought we might have a game like this away to Real Madrid, where like shell-shocked, under the bright lights of the Bernabeu. Last season, we were talking about it before, at the Allianz, we just turned up without any energy.
Yeah, big time.
And that's happened tonight. It happened against Newcastle, where, fair enough, we just lackluster. We just 3 or 4 times a season, you can't get away with it if it's the big games. You can't. We didn't turn up. I thought we turned up into away. I thought we did a good job, but they were a really good team, and it's hard. There were performances that I thought we did exceptionally well against Man City, and were unlucky. But now that we've lost the league by as far as we have, I think it's also as much. And I did say at the beginning, so I'm glad I hadn't forgotten again. I wanted to say well done to Liverpool, because even if we'd been a bit better, even if we hadn't had so many injuries, I still think they win the league this season. They got through unscathed, and they did all the things they were supposed to do. And when they went a goal down to Southampton at home, you knew they were coming back. And this season, on a couple of occasions when like the Palace game, they just knew they were going to equalise. Just knew it.
Well, that's what, and that's to me, like, sometimes is why I'm like, I need that 2-goal buffer to feel comfortable. Like, we might get something out of this, because we're not that good in 1-goal leads
that was
at
the
all
same
this season,
situation
right?
last season too.
Yeah. I mean, last season was that first half of you're right. In that first half of the season, we got a couple of draws. I think that hurt us at the end of the season. Like, Villa wasn't the game. Fulham was the game.
Fulham and West Ham was
the game in that first half of the season that you're like, look back at it and you go, we got scored on off of our free kick.
Yeah. Do you know what's mad? Like, when you look at Arteta, if Arteta's tenure at Arsenal ends without the silverware that we all prayed for, we'll always look back at it and go, it's just such a dichotomy. Like, he can go through the first half of the season 2 years ago, like, and do something no Arsenal manager's ever done before, like win almost every game. He can do what we did last season, which is practically win every game at the end of the season. You think, put those two things together, he can get us to the semi-final of the Champions League with 2 incredible performances against Real Madrid, harnessing the energy of the Emirates that he has helped to foster by bringing in an anthem. Win the dog.
Well, I was saying that because everybody was talking, like, one of the guys I do a show with, he's always concerned about the amount of minutes we're playing. I'm like, yeah, and at some point we're gonna have, like, that's why I want rotation, because we're not gonna get over 3,000 minutes from all of our top stars. We're not gonna. It's not gonna happen, right? So we need to make sure we have the right squad balance so that they can come in and give them rest, right? We're up. What is it? We're up 4-0 in a game, and we still won't sub out. We still won't sub out anyone. You're like
you could at least be throwing on. I know, look, Butler or Udeze is not a player I think is going to make it.
Did you see what he did when he came in?
He had a shot. Yeah.
He needs the what? Come on. Did you see what he did when he first came on? I know it was a snippet of time, but
Yeah.
I'm not getting that from Moreno.
No, you don't.
You know what I mean? I'm not getting that from Moreno because that's not where he plays. Like a player who's playing in a position that he plays and gets the ball in the right spot, he does those types of things, and you're like, that's what they do. That's what a player that plays in a center forward role does. And you see him do it, and you're like,
yeah, they have some experience that helps.
and you didn't like think you get something out because I think everybody's been asking for Butler, Nathan to get out there and get some minutes.
I haven't. Because I know Zanzi has, wherever you are, Zanzi.
But we saw what you can get out of him because he can play the role.
I really, I think you could look at his 2 loan spells and the 40 games he played without scoring a goal in League 2 to probably get an idea that, he could. He could.
But Moreno, hasn't played striker since he was like in his diapers or something like that, and he comes out and he looks all right. So I don't know. Maybe you hit lightning in a ball, like you said. Dembele just didn't work out at some really good clubs. All of a sudden, it clicked. Maybe it would have clicked with Arteta because Arteta's got players that we're like, no, and then we're like, yes.
Look, he does. This is what I'm saying. It's why it's such a frustrating experience because those of us who don't necessarily want to see Arteta sacked, nights like tonight don't help, but don't want to see him sacked. But you look back and you think, is it going to be one of those where you think, how is he so good that he gets us to the semi-final? And then we get to the semi-final and he's just sort of standing there watching it, like with a tub of popcorn going, oh, shit. Like, who's going to change this? This isn't working. And you want to go, no, that's you. It's you change the shit. You tell the players to go. There is, for me, as I started the stream by saying, it is impossible to ignore the fact that at key moments, winners step up. At key moments, they would rather die than lose. Luis Enrique, for me, the reason I love him as a manager is because he has that I will not lose. He hates to lose. When I play poker, my mentor said to me, he goes, you'll always be good because you're not really interested in winning. You just hate losing. And if I came second, it was like the worst thing that could happen to me. First, last, I hated it. Like, so even though you get the best payout, like we could split the first prize and get equal pay, and I would still be angry if I lost. I'd be the guy going, we still play it out though, right? And everyone goes, well, we've split the money. And I go, no, we're still gonna have a winner, right? It's like I'll give you more of the purse if we can just play. And well, I'll let you win then. No, don't let me win. I have to, like it's for some people, it's not about winning. It's about I will not lose. And I think we are lacking. I think Declan Rice is that guy. Yeah. I worry that Bukayo Saka is okay with coming second.
I think he is, I would say, almost the ultimate professional because he'll do whatever the manager says, even though. And I think a lot of fans and a lot of rivals will complain that he's not who we think he should be, and I think it's because he's playing within the system that Arteta has, which constrains him to some degree. If he went and played, I believe, if he went and played for many of the top managers out there who definitely would take him, he would just open things up even more, open up his game even more. I think he's just such a good player that he can fit into this system that is so restrictive and still perform like when the ball. Think about it. We're watching the match, right? We need the ball at the feet of which 3 players, right? Starting from the back. Right?
Martinelli, because that's the only way he'll see it.
Starting from starting from the back. Skelly, Rice, and Saka. Get the ball to their feet. Everything slows down, right? That's what Partey used to do for us when he's in the game, right? There's fireworks and bombs flying all over the place. Ball gets into Partey's feet. Everything slows down. Everything gets quiet, and then he makes the right pass. Right? Same thing with Saka. He's got
I think Jorginho as well.
He's got 2, 3, 4 players coming at him. It doesn't matter. That ball's staying at his feet, and it goes back, but it goes back to one of our players. Right? Today, we couldn't get that ball out of the back line on that right-hand side. It was scary times every time, right?
Yeah.
It never went to the left. It should have went to the left. It's Skelly. Yeah, it should have went through the middle to Rice and then get it out to Saka until things calmed down. We went through it. That was a little bit too long to figure out. Guess what? They are pressing, and we need to control this game. Get the ball to the guys that can do it. Erdegaard's supposed to be one of those guys, but he's not there yet. He's not there this year.
No.
But I think that's when we're looking at the game going, get the ball to our three best players right now. Skelly's really strong, right? Get the ball to
Yeah.
him. He's falling down, but because they're leaning on him because he's so strong and they're trying to get through him. You saw the balls coming. They just cut right in front of like Erdogan and Trossard and take the ball off of their feet. And you're like, no, it can't happen. In this game, we need to control that ball because that's the only thing that's the thing that's hurting us, right? And I don't know. That's kind of how I saw that. And
we had some issues in retaining the ball that we are not usually as bad at, and I think the two
today, especially in the first half.
Yeah, I think in terms of losing possession, Bukayo Saka 15 times, Odegaard 14 times.
It didn't seem like that to me, and that sounds like a lot for Saka to lose the ball.
It is a lot. It is a lot, and often I think that's on. He's double teamed, so that's more likely to lose the ball. But it's what happens when you lose the ball, because it's not usually someone taking the ball off him. It's usually someone tackling, and whoever gets to the second ball wins it.
Yeah.
And that in tonight. They covered that really well.
But Saka's losing the ball in an attacking third, so I don't.
Yeah.
So for me,
well, you say that.
I don't think he lost it. Like when we were struggling in that first 30 minutes, that ball, the ball wasn't getting near the midline, right? We just couldn't get it out of our defensive third. It was just hard. So that's kind of that's on the goalkeeper. That's on our hard.
That's cheered me up. I think we need some warriors. We need. I don't think Trossard. I think he was getting muscled out of everything. If you add up the passes of some of these players, like Saka, I think if you add up Saka, Odegaard, and Trossard's passes, you get to about 30, 40 passes in the game.
Wow.
Yeah. So really not. And the pass accuracy for us was way below theirs. So that's people not knowing where to put the ball into space, not knowing where the player nearest them is. In terms of possession lost, to have three players lose the ball 14 times, that's a lot of turnover to a team that's comfortable on the ball. When the thing that you saw Rice saying to them at the start of the match was specifically about that, if we don't have the ball, we die. So I think there's something in the reverse. I don't think you should have said that. I don't think that should have been Arteta. Arteta's obviously said that to them pre-match, and I think it helped them focus on the wrong thing. I think the great managers make you feel like you're invincible. They go, just go out there and run at these guys because you're the Arsenal, and look, we haven't. Arteta hasn't got there yet, but this is only his 6th year in charge of a football team. It's only the 2nd time he's been in the Champions League, and he's made a semi-final, possibly final, and a quarter-final. And if we go out, it will be out probably to the eventual winners. So there's a lot to love about Arteta. It's just that final. It's like the best baker in the world. The cake is amazing. You can't get enough of it. You ask him to make you one for your son's birthday, and he basically makes one that looks like a cat shat it, but it tastes good. So you just want that final little piece. You want something to get us just over that line. I don't know if I'm convinced that Arteta doesn't have that ability. When I look at his CV, Sporting 5-1, PSV 7-1, people go, oh, these are shit teams. In our history, we haven't been doing this. He's lost 3 games this season. 3 games. Last season, 89 points. Most goals we've ever scored in the Premier League. There are achievements here where you go, we have to stick with this a bit longer. But when you get to a semi-final like tonight with everything riding on it, and we just don't show up, if 2 players in a match have a bad game, that's on them. If 8 do, tell me how that isn't coming back to haunt you as a manager.
And the one thing about the reason why for me it's on the managers because he didn't want to fix it. He didn't want to change it. He didn't give the team a chance to fix it by moving either players around or bringing new players in. You got to do something, right? You got to do something at least for a time period to settle things down. Maybe you bring another defender. Maybe you go into a back 3 just to settle things down until you figure something out, right? Like we should have been able to do something to just squash that whole 20-minute period where it looked like they were going to just run us out of the pitch, right? We didn't do any of that until we settled down, got the ball to the right places, and then next thing you know, like for the rest, like I think you take away that 20 minutes, and it's an even game, right? It's an even game. It could go
It's an
any way.
very boring game.
Yeah, and that's because we don't have attackers like they do. That's the difference for me. I feel like if we have attackers like we have a Dembele, right, on our side.
Well,
right?
Kai Havertz would have been a useful player.
No, but he's not a Dembele.
No, he's no. I think Dembele right now is one of the best players in the world.
Yeah.
I can't say enough good things about it. He's a player, like I said, I've been watching since Dortmund, but something didn't go right at Barcelona, and that's a weird one. I think we have Saka. I think
and they brought Doué on, and he looked like he was threatening us. Oh my god,
Doué is different. Doué is just annoyingly good. Doué is that they signed him for 50 million. He looked like he was going to be a dud, and now it's like, oh no, he's not a dud.
Yeah. Even against Villa, the first leg he was really good. The second leg he didn't play.
Barcola, we haven't even mentioned it. I'm like, Barcola is not a shit player. This is Luis Enrique. He's putting a great team together. I'm going to rattle through some of these comments. Social, no, Arteta shouldn't pick any more players. He keeps playing system to a fault with a no change. Bird has to pick the opposite players, like no false nines, no Havertz types, Gary or striker. It'd be really interesting to see what we do. Raheem, this was his comment. I love this. Lone Star Londoner. Well done, mate. Sterling is a Spanish power cut. I just love it. I can't believe how far behind.
Can you translate that for me? Because I don't know what that means.
Right. So in Spain and Portugal, for no reason that anyone's quite sure about, they've lost power. So Spanish people like Lee Gunner was watching this with a candle. I've got one of the girls that we just hired at work isn't starting. She went to Portugal. She flew to Portugal the day that the whole country's lost power. They have no electricity. They have minimal airport electricity to land a few planes. But it's basically, I'm watching Walking Dead at the moment, and it's that. Lee Gunner probably will bite you. Sterling about positioning and intelligence. Let me be frank. In my opinion, Sterling is very lucky to have played the likes of Gerrard. Yeah, I mean, I think he's had a great career. All good.
Like I said, he's gotten old, and old for him isn't the same as old for other people.
Saying that, I will make you do a timeout. All right, no one tell me that 30 years old. Okay,
it's for a footballer. It's old, man. The life expectancy for all the footballers in the world isn't as big as you
Gary's
think, right?
Getting a timeout and on trial. Rosie, put this one down.
What am I getting a timeout? I shouldn't even be on trial. I didn't say anything. It was fun. Everybody laughed.
Rosie.
I know, Melino, you were laughing at what I said if you saw it, all right?
I cannot confirm or deny.
No, see, you're smiling. So you know what?
But I'm smiling because I'm slightly senile, and I'm thinking I'm hearing you talk about how 30 years old, and I'm like, I still remember like it was yesterday.
When I was 30.
Yeah, God. I barely do. Anyway, gonna rattle through some of these. No one was pushing Liverpool. We had a chance and ruined it like always. Not like always.
The last part, yeah. I mean, we've had opportunities the last 3 seasons. I think the first one would have been a surprise. The next 2, I think, was controlled.
We came so close last season.
And this season and last season were all in our hands. We had ways we could have tried and fixed it, and we didn't do it.
This season just felt like it. Do you know what? Like, even at the West Ham game,
yeah, that was poor.
I started to feel like, is this going to be our season? Because getting Declan Rice sent off against Brighton, and you just thought, what the fuck was that? Yeah. And then Trossard gets sent off, and every time we get a player sent off, everyone's going by the letter of the law. If it was the letter of the law, how come no one's ever been arrested for it? It's like, by the letter of the law. Oh, yes, well, necromancy. You're guilty of that. It's like, we didn't even know that was a law. What is this law? I've never heard of this. Yeah. You kick the football away and you have to go and leave the field of play. Meanwhile, the guy, before Declan Rice kicks that ball,
nothing happens.
The guy kicks him. Yeah. Kicks him hard, and he's going, ow. Doesn't make a fuss and chin the guy. Which
if you looked at VAR, you would see that he was nowhere kicking that ball, because where he kicked Rice, it was if the ball was like a foot higher than where, and the ball was not.
And I've forgotten the name of the prick as well. He got injured recently. But yeah, so awful human being. Gaetano 77, disgusting performance from our skipper, hiding away from the ball. I think we all kind of agree with that. Might not have said disgusting. I don't like the word.
And you know what? And that's where, for me, I get that. All right, he's making the pass to a player who can't do the job. I'm like, at some point, Erdogan, at some point, captain, at some point, player who plays in the
You have
midfield,
to step up.
you have to just take it upon yourself to show everybody, guess what? This is what I want you to do. When you get the ball and you're sitting in front of the goal, you strike it, right? I know you can do it because we've seen it.
I think you're right. And I think I want to make the point that Odegaard's goal contribution this season has been shit.
Yeah.
And I also want to make the point that if he's not his passes were shit today. He had like 76% pass accuracy.
Yeah.
So even if you'd had a really brilliant striker up there, I'm not sure he would have found him as often as he needed to. I think that's one of the things that Saka was getting frustrated about. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. I'm not wrong. We've got Lionel Miat. I don't normally screw up names, but Lionel Miazzi, Declan Rice should be captain instead of Odegaard. I agree with you, and welcome. Berta's report must be long as hell. Oh man, like Andrea Berta, has there ever been so much expectation?
You know what he's got? But you know what? All he has to do, in my eyes, is just get better than what we got.
And which is like Leroy Yadeji. So
I never said that.
No, but that's who we. That's
no, that is not what I'm talking about. The low, no, it's terrible. What you just
rising
said.
Tide lifts all ships. We
just
no.
Slowly replace we're pushing the good down is what we're doing, as opposed to trying to get the worst out. That's not no. See, you're looking at it wrong.
So who? I mean, like
we're pushing Havertz to the bench. We're pushing Trossard and Martinelli to the bench, right?
Whether we go through or not, we have been we finished the league stage of 8 games in Champions League in third. We have performed really well. We've got to the semi-final, beating the current holders 5-1. Only team in the semi-finals to have won both legs of their quarterfinals. We've done really well. So you need a player that's going to lift us up a little bit. And I think, honestly, I'm sick of hearing about Gyökeres because I don't think it's him. And I don't know what the plan is, but I'm sick of all we've talked about as a fan base. It seems like since January, where we all kind of made our peace one way or another with not winning the league this season. I know it's taken till the end of April, but it really was done in February. And all we've talked about is who we should sign that we didn't sign in January. Isak. I saw another report today. Bizarre twist. Bizarre twist is that some journalists are still getting paid. That's the bizarre twist. Because, I can do that job. Oh, yep. I think they're going to reincarnate Diego Maradona. I think there's more chance of some of that than what you read. Gyökeres has said yes to Man United and Arsenal on the same day. It's brilliant. I think he's going to play home games for each team, and when we play each other, he's just going to play half for each. It's going to work. It's fine. Donkey says thank you, but I don't know why. Odegaard is not the answer. Seriously, questions need to be asked, and they are being asked. We've all asked them. If Sam Greenwood was here, he would help us ask them in Norwegian. But the big question is, what the fuck?
Well, the other part to that, on top of that now, is that we're hearing, right, that Erdogan needs surgery. So not only is he not playing well, but he's playing on a bum leg. So if he can't play, because like the same way you took Ben White and you said, you know what, we're going to push him as much as we can, and then we're going to eventually get him the surgery that he needs to get better. Now we're pushing Erdogan out there, and it's like, you don't have to. Maybe Nweri is the answer. Maybe somebody else is the answer, or you know what I mean. But you're pushing him out there, and if he's got this injury, are you actually, like they usually say, it's not doing him any bad. It's not doing him that good. But I think he can't play on it. You know what I mean? So for me, it can't be good. Like sometimes they say, the injury can't get any worse, but they're still playing okay. He's not playing okay, and he has the injury. So guess what? Why don't you just get him the surgery so he'll be back in time? Because now I'm like, the season will end. He'll go on vacation. They'll do the surgery, and then we'll have to wait for him to get back, which I think
it could be really dangerous for a player like Odegaard as well. Because if you time this wrong, he goes away and someone steps in and does a decent job. I am going to say this because I think the argument is Zinchenko's nowhere near as good in midfield as a good Odegaard. But like,
did you see him play this year?
Who, Zinchenko?
Yeah, when he's going to the middle, he's done things we're like, why doesn't Odegaard do that?
I don't know, and that's what it was, a Girona game, wasn't it? It was PSV at home.
Yeah, and he took that shot. You're like, yes, that's what we
do
want.
That. I mean, I think Odegaard scored as many goals as I think Zinchenko scored as many goals as Odegaard this season. I'd have to look it up, and I did made it off.
I'll take a look at it right now and see.
Donkey says here, and I really like this. Arteta keeps saying the players need to play with courage, but he needs to take his own advice and make courageous decisions. Amen.
Yeah,
I do think we can hope that he makes more courageous decisions than swapping Odegaard on the 90th bloody minute. You know, even if they'd said there was 15 minutes of injury time, I still don't think he should have taken him 90 minutes to make that call.
I think Ethan Nwaneri in those 5 minutes offered much more than what Odegaard did the whole 90, if we're being honest.
You know what? By then I was already done.
No, but he laid off a really nice pass to Martinelli, which you're like, all right, can you just put it on target at least? No, Rosed. I'm like, oh man.
I mean, I'll make you right. I'm looking at the stats. He played 1 minute, and in that 1 minute that he played of official time, obviously don't count injury time, of the 1 minute he played, he won a ground duel and made a key pass.
Yeah.
and tackled someone. So Odegaard, like, he's done in a minute what Odegaard struggled to do in 90 minutes, which is like part of the problem, isn't it? We can all see Odegaard played like dog shit today. I'm not having a go at him. I love Odegaard. I'm glad I was delighted when we signed him, and I think he's been a big part of this reconstruction. But if you're not playing well, you get dropped. That's always been the case.
Yeah. Zinchenko has 1 goal. And Odegaard has 5, so not and this is in all comps, so not. But the one shot he did take, I'm like, I want more of that. But he hasn't.
Can we put that into perspective though? Because Odegaard's played. Well, okay, I'm gonna look it up now.
He's played almost 3,000 minutes, and Zinchenko's played just over 700. So in reality.
So it's 4.5 times more.
Yeah. So
does that imply then that if Zinchenko had been playing 4.5 times more, he would have scored 4.5 times more goals?
I feel we would have scored at least 4.5 more goals if he played, which I think might have made the difference for us getting.
That could make a huge difference. Certainly, it makes a huge difference in a game like tonight. One goal makes a huge difference. If we're 1-1. It's a knife edge. I'm worried that PSG are going to feel too confident. And
they looked like they were like happy to take the 1-0 lead, and once again, Arteta looked like he was like, oh, "That's fine with me," and I'm like, "No, that's not fine with you. That is not fine with your home. You go get that win. Like you should be trying to get that win, and if you fail and you get the draw, I'll take it. But you didn't even."
It's so annoying as well, isn't it? Because the idea of shutting PSG out at a Parc des Princes is a tall order. So we're going to have to score at least twice to just take this tie to extra time. And when you watch us tonight and you go, no, I don't see 2 goals. Although that's just Arsenal, isn't it? Like, I didn't see us scoring 5 in over 2 legs against Real Madrid. I didn't see us scoring 7 in 1 game against PSV, 5 against Sporting, 5 against Man City. When there are goals in this team somewhere, we just need to find them. And I think Thomas Partey makes a big difference. Who knows? He might have
Moreno up top makes a difference. You know, Trossard on the bench makes a difference. You know, there's different ways people make difference. Some on the bench.
Maybe something will surprise us, and Odegaard. And Arteta comes out and goes, "Yeah, I'm done with this prick." Yeah. He's having his operation early because
he'll have his operation, and we don't even know how he's going to come back, right? So
he's coming back. What do you mean?
But I mean, will he come back and we'll be back to what we had before? I don't even know what we had before that we liked. It's been a while since we had that 15-goal season, right? And so, you know,
that's the maddening thing about football. Where's Melina gone? What have you said to Melina?
I don't know. She just.
But do you know what's maddening about football though? Is it just creeps up on you, doesn't it? It's like when Merson got sold, and I was like, not Merson. He's he's the magic man. And you go, actually, when was the last time he was any good? And then he goes off to Middlesbrough and you go, oh, yeah, he's all right. You know, like the great players, they suddenly drift a little bit.
Well, he's disappearing in front of our eyes because it's like you're watching that game, and at some point you're hearing people talk about which players are doing what, and you're like, well, why isn't Erdogan's name being called out? Like even for bad reasons. Like Timber had some bad reasons, had some good reasons why we're talking about him, right? Moreno in the midfield had some good reasons why we talked about it. Rice had some good reasons why we talked about him. Erdogan in the middle, not so much, all right?
No, you're right. I think it's just because he's so anonymous. He's so
And I used to say that about Partey, but when Partey was anonymous, it's because it was so because everything just seemed to flow, and there was no reason. Like you didn't even realize that he was doing all he was doing so much with he's doing so much creating. Like think about it today. Nobody wanted that ball in the middle of the pitch because guess what? There's players all around me, and they might come and try to take the ball off me. No, but like that's Partey in the middle. He'll take that ball in the middle, protect it like Skelly does, and make sure you don't get there. And at least open up the field a little bit when he's in the midfield. Because right now, everybody's doing his donut around that midfield. Because
what's really interesting to support your argument is that when you look at Declan Rice's heat map for this game, it's like someone just took a big magic marker and just went everywhere. You're going to be everywhere, and it's like okay, but there's nothing wrong with like going, okay, I'm just going to sit here and then I'm going to be the fulcrum that passes the ball, and then you look at Odegaard's and it's like, I'm going to be over here in the corner. And we're just disjointed. It was a disjointed performance. But there are so many things about football tactics I just do not get that I could easily believe this was a tactical masterclass from Luis Enrique or, I don't know, mega mind from Arteta. But just watching it as someone who's watched football for a long time, I'm looking at it going, always true at Highbury that we loved Ray Parlour, right? Like Ray Parlour was not really the Romford Brazilian, he was not Romfordinho, but he would get involved. Paul Davis got involved. Rocastle got involved. They would leave their heart and soul on the pitch to win. And this wasn't a team that was imperious and dominated the world, but we didn't mind if you went out there. And today, I can't say that about Odegaard. He could be carrying an injury. He could have been out of sorts. He could have been tactically mastered out of the game, but he didn't grit his teeth and fight. I think Declan Rice will always give you that. Miles Lewis-Skelly will always give you that. I think Ethan Nwaneri is more likely to give you that.
Yeah,
you have to be able to contribute when you're not having a good day in certain aspects of you got to be able to contribute, right?
Yes.
Like Trossard today didn't give us anything, and didn't give us anything else. You know what I mean? Like you play in the middle, you expect him to be in positions to score and all this, but nothing else. Martinelli, he supports us defensively, which I guess you can't really quantify that sometimes.
Yeah.
But in your role, not getting enough from him. We need a lot more from you in those type of situations. So, no, I'm gonna have to go in a little bit. But yeah, no, I like I said, the thing that keeps me hopeful is that this was a poor game, and we have a lot more room to improve between now and the next.
We just have like at least the equivalent game last season was Bayern at the Allianz, and it was like it all got too much for our young players. And there's only so many seasons I'm comfortable saying that. This time, the one bright thing is it's a 1-0 defeat, half time in the leg. We still have half of this tie to go and do something. And however unlikely it is, do I think that going and winning at the Parc des Princes is unlikely? Yeah, but I thought that about the Bernabeu, right? There is nothing about this upcoming match on Wednesday that is beyond hope. Yeah. We still have hope. And a part of me is really pissed off about it because I'm sick of having that hope to the very end and then going, what was I thinking? Do you know what I mean? Like,
but you know what? That's that. Like I said, this game is bad. We're missing a lot of our top players. Maybe it makes it different. Maybe it doesn't. Maybe we play totally different because we have everybody and we still lose 1-0. But this
if
one,
we go out fighting. I'll say this, and I'm glad thank you for giving me the opportunity to say this because I didn't say this, and I think this is really important. Whatever happens in terms of us reaching or not reaching the final. If we go to Paris and play with energy and passion and fight, I can live with any result. I would rather go down fighting 3-0 than
put some fight.
As I like to say, don't waste the trip.
Don't waste the trip. What perfect time to say it as well.
You're going to France. Guess what?
Get some baguettes, get some cheese,
and then
don't waste the trip. Make sure you
quiet the stadium as soon as you can.
Oh my God, like they did with us.
Well, yeah. But think about it. If we quiet that stadium,
I'm not in a position to criticize the Emirates attending fans. I wish I had been there, no question.
It's kind of twofold sometimes, right? Sometimes the fan needs to be up for it, but also the play on the pitch
I think semi-finals.
Timber was scaring us.
I think semi-finals of the Champions League, Gary, this is where I disagree with you. I think for semi-finals of the Champions League, it doesn't matter what dreck you're watching. You are not guaranteed you'll ever get another one.
You're very true. That's very true.
That's it. True. Yeah. You think, like I thought in 2006, 2006, well, we'll have another one. Yeah, we did in 2009, and it was a shit show.
Yeah.
Because we can see
and then also on top of that, then Arteta didn't realize that as well. Like he wasn't part of it, but
I think he's that young manager.
Like you need to feel like, guess what? I might not be back here again. My job is on the line. I need to do better. And these little things that I'm doing wrong, which there are little things that he's doing wrong, I need to do better. Either I need to listen to the guys on my bench a little bit more.
I don't. Or you know what? Like, talk about pulling the hand grenade, pin on a hand grenade, and going right. That's my. Can we talk about that at some point? Maybe not this show, but some point in the future. Like, I don't think he's got the right people with him.
And if he doesn't, that's why I was telling you. You bring him in. You have to support him. So if he doesn't have the best assistants next to him, go get him.
Isn't it?
Go get
that's a personality defect.
But that's when somebody needs to help him. Somebody has to help him.
Cheeky Bagherstin as sporting director, and Lolo Young. Well, I've forgotten his name. Lilo and Stitch, or whatever the fuck the guy's name is. One of the most respected Spanish managers, an older statesman of Spanish football, tactically genius. You know, that's Pep Guardiola. I would say still the best manager in world football. These guys need people around them and I hope Andrea Berta does that to some degree. But I'm looking at apart from Nicholas Hover now, it's just become a bit silly. You know, like, come on. If you are practicing these free kicks and corners, do you need to stand there and go?
Yeah, it's too much.
Because I don't know how much you can actually convey to people. Do you know what I mean? It's like, it's not even, if it was tic-tac or mime or something, if it was like, you know, that would make sense. But this is just like, surely you've practiced it, you know?
Well, you know what? The same way, but you know what? It trickles down because we say the same thing about the way we play our football. Isn't Arteta going through the practice in the beginning of at the beginning of the week in preparation for a game like this one? Going, this is what we possibly might get from PSG.
The thing is,
these are the things that we shouldn't be surprised by whatever we see.
This was actually referred to by Arteta in one of his press conferences over a month ago, where it was like, in Premier League football, they don't train like they used to in the George Graham era. Yeah. So if you have a game on Saturday, you will have light massage, sports massage.
No, I'm talking about the mental aspects of the game. Like there's things that you're going to like those things that you're going to be telling your team might happen, right?
Yeah.
You know, they might press us because guess what? I've seen them press in my scouting report on PSG like they did today, right? We cannot leave Dembele alone inside the attacking third. That should be like a rule of thumb. Like when you go,
they went back in a half.
Bare minimum.
They went in a half time, and I can imagine Arteta going, "I need to tell you, fuckers, this. You know who that is? That's Usman Dembele."
No, but it should be like it should be so much. Like he should have been saying that for the entire time from like the last time we played till now.
Let's be honest though, because anyone who's ever managed a team, right, of anything, will know that you can set them up perfectly and then they still have their little brain fart and go, oh, you know, but I don't know. I think you're right. Obviously, I don't feel like they were set up. I think one area that I was really confident in playing against PSG is Saka and Martinelli. Martinelli, for all his faults in final ball, and you know, he can definitely improve in that area. he gives you work rate and defensively gives you work rate, and Saka is the same. And I don't think that you can say that in the same way about Doué and Kvaratskhelia. So I thought that actually we would be more likely to press them out of it. And on the day, shows what I fucking know.
Yeah, they seem to do
But
that.
It's half time. It's half time. I don't know.
All right, I'm gonna go. I just say I was gonna leave. But
we're gonna
thank
call
you.
it, Gary.
Yeah,
Thank you
you
so
for
much
having
for
me
being
on,
here.
Dan.
Take care,
Miss
Gary.
Melina,
You too.
everybody in the chat, we'll see each other again. Hopefully next time we talk, we're talking about 2 wins, Bournemouth and PSG.
I could give a fuck about Bournemouth.
I want to win every game we play because you know what, I think winning begets winning. So if we don't have that, and you know what, I don't even think it's not that we have to have our starters in the game. Anybody who plays should be thinking.
You want Butler or you Deji to get a hat trick against Bournemouth, and then Arteta rolls the dice and goes, "Do you know what? You're starting to poke the prance," and he goes off and gets a hat trick, and the whole world is like genius. Or Arteta just comes up with some magical formula. Yeah. Ethan Nwaneri and Odegaard both playing together.
In Wary, needs more minutes so that he you know what I think it is. He's on a minute restriction. That's why he only got a minute. He came in the 89th minute. So I think if we give him some minutes this weekend against Bournemouth, he might be able to come in the 85th.
Is it because he's not a grown up yet and he has to change? Do you know what? Is it because he's not allowed legally?
You know what? He didn't bring his permission slip in on time, so he's getting punished. Yeah. You're supposed to bring your permission slip on if you want to start a game in the Premier League, son. He didn't
bring his coach fare. He's like, Mum forgot to send him his coach fare, so they're like, right, you're not playing. Guys, I feel better, but nothing is going to make it okay that that 16 years since the last horrible semi-final against Man United, we didn't turn up today.
2009.
It was 2009 was a horror show. But if you'd said to me in 2009, you know what, you're not coming back here for another 16 years. 16 years is a long time. I mean, to put this in perspective, Ethan Nwaneri was a year old.
Oof.
Wow. Wasn't born when we made the final and was a year and a half old when we last made a semi-final. So he will have retired. If we do this again, he will have retired by the next time. And I will. The most horrifying thing for me was, you know what? Like 2009, we made a semi-final. No one ever talks about it. It's not something we're proud of. It was a shit show. So this semi-final will go down the same way. It won't be an achievement. It'll be just something we all forget about. And when I looked at the starting lineup of that fucking final, semi-final against Man United, and I saw that Adebayor and Van Persie and Cesc Fabregas and Sami Nasri and Bakary Sagna, all the fuckers that left that couldn't wait to get out of the club. But I looked at that and I thought, well, how did we think we were going to win the Champions League with these bastards? And now I worry that we'll look back one day at Odegaard and we'll look at Trossard and go, yeah, typical. These rat bastards.
Sometimes you got to be, as you said, you got to be a little bit strong to put the best players on the pitch and maybe take one off that you don't want to. And Arteta's got to be strong.
This is not FIFA. The best player is not the best player every game. You've got to be watching it and go, you're just not playing that well today. You're coming off. You know, every great player has been subbed.
Yeah. I believe you practice the way you play. Like the same, like when Tierney goes out to practice and he's wearing his top and his shorts, like he plays, you don't have to switch for the game. Like they're going from like long sleeves and long pants and all that stuff, and there's
that's true. Actually, he wears a snood. I think in the Arsenal of the future there will be no snoods.
No, just you know what I always say, practice the way you play, and I think when we do practice, it should be something that you can emulate in the game, no matter how slow paced it is.
Well, I mean, I think Gabriel does that. That's why he nearly killed Mourinho the first time he met him. There's that. I will remind everyone of the Kolo Touré story when he came for a trial and put his feet through the back of Thierry Henry and Thierry Henry had to get an ice pack and go off, and then he did it to Bergkamp, and everyone was like, "Mate, it's your." And then he went into a challenge and upended Arsene Wenger, and Ray Parlour was like, "Right, well, that's him definitely screwed his chances." He goes into the dressing room, and in the massage room, Arsene Wenger's got his feet up, wrapped in ice, and Ray Parlour's gone, I suppose he's ruined his chances. You're kidding? I like this fight. This is what I want. I don't see that from Saliba, right? I don't see that from Martin Odegaard. I want someone exactly like you're describing that turns up at training and goes, "Who do I kill?"
Yeah.
Rice does that.
I bet Rice. You know the great story about Gerrard. Like when Gerrard used to play in training, he would go in tackle just exactly the same way as he'd play every game because that's what he does. And you're right, Gary. We should train as we play. But today it looks like we've been training, like I don't know, with a bit more time than we actually. Unless everybody thought there was 120 minutes today, and it was like, oh wow, is that? God, doesn't time fly when you're not actually running around very much? Anyway.
Yeah. All right, I'm really gonna go. So,
Gary, thanks for joining
you,
us.
everybody in the chat. Thank you, Dan. Thank you, Miss Melina. I will see you guys in the next one. Enjoy.
See
Take
you
care,
soon.
Gary.
All right. Yep. You too.
Miss Melina, I'm going to give you the final word.
The final word is remontada in Paris. If the women can do it, the men's team can do it. And maybe we should put Alicia Russo up front because we need everything we can get.
I love that idea, by the way. Remington, but how mad would it be? How mad would it be? Seriously, how mad would it be if we did that and we get to 2 finals in the same kind of like ridiculous, like 4-1? How about we go to Paris Saint-Germain and win 4-1?
I think the point is it's only halftime. We'll see what happens next week. It's definitely, we're on the back burner now and the pressure is on us. When the pressure comes on us, let's see what happens. And this team, the only thing we have left is this competition to play for. So if it really means something to these players, then we hope that the manager and the team collectively can step up when it matters on the big stage.
Amen. When it matters, could be worse, could be Celtic fans. Colton Connors here. You came right at the end. Great to see you all. Yeah, it's half time. It ain't over till it's over. We can do this. We're going to win the Champions League. We're going to do this. But anyway, whatever happens, it was a delight to share this evening with you and everyone in the chat. Thank you so much for joining. And until I see you again, be lucky and lots of love.
Bye, everyone.